All right, welcome back to the final episode of 2024 of the Otter Players Podcast, episode 45, where we'll talk about our final thoughts of 2024 heading into 2025, the state of gaming, the industry as a whole, our favorite games of the year, and we'll get you all to participate as well and see who you think has the best picks that we've come up with so far. But without further ado, we'll go ahead and get into our intros and jump right into it. Weeb, how are you, man? And what have you been playing?
Hello. Yeah, I'm good. Uh, just got back from spent some time with the family over at the Christmas break, and
Nice.
yeah, waiting for this year to finally end. I've been playing. Yeah, it's been 2 weeks, right? I finally finished Dragon Age: The Veilguard. Also went for the Plat. Um, what can I say?
Nice.
I definitely enjoy the game. Though I do have some gripes, but that's mostly because uh I love Dragon Age and I know what it can do, and I can see, that this is sort of a product of a troubled development. It got like rebooted 2 times. I think that like it has been in development for 10 years, like and they were very ambitious at the beginning, and then they had to cut back because Anthem failed, and they tried to make it a service game, and then they came back from that and they made it, what it is today, which I think will definitely say it's a lot better than that those plans for that service game. It's still a great game, but I can see, where they had to I say cut content or cut corners. There were some things set up in Inquisition in the final DLC that didn't really come to fruition. There were even some things set up in the game itself with companions that were completely dropped and never mentioned again. So I can see that there was way more potential, way more ambition that they weren't able to deliver on because I guess money, expectations from management, etc. Um, so you sort of have like what you I guess have with Metal Gear Solid 5, where at the end they sort of you can see they ran out of money and they just start to repeat missions. Here it's sort of like they kind of ran out of money at the middle part where you're basically just in the second act just doing all the companion quests, which are fine, but generally those are optional, right? You can do those to build maximum rapport with your companions, but they were never really the main focus. And here that sort of is the main focus, but then it picks up in Act 3. Like Act 3 is fantastic, like that's Dragon Age at its peak. So it definitely I definitely enjoy it. It definitely is a worthwhile, to if you're a fan and even if you're not a fan, to get into this. But know that as a fan and as the fact that I know what Bioware can do, I hold them to a better standard. So compared to anything else that came out this year, it's absolutely top tier. And if it wasn't given the title of Dragon Age, there would be nothing wrong with it. But because of it, it has its pedigree because it's part of that series. I hold it to a higher standard. I know that Bioware can do better. So it's again a fantastic game, but there are definitely some things where I say okay, I can see sort of where the troubles with the development had it has an effect, and I'm told, but I still have to get it. I pre-ordered the art book for or pre-ordered, just ordered the art book for the Veilguard, because apparently there's a lot of cut content, concept art in there, and they're sort of explaining the entire original idea for when it was still called the Red Wolf. I can see why they changed the name, because yeah, he's barely in it. So I guess they figured like, yeah, that wouldn't really cover the load. So, but yeah,
I said the same thing when I was playing it and I saw Priscilla playing it. I was like, yeah, I see why they changed the name.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's such a shame because they really like built that up that there was going to be a massive, he's going to build an army, and then it's going to have like there's going to be a massive war, and then he's just basically side rail like pretty much from the beginning, and they're just
Mm-hmm.
putting in new villains there who are not, I'd say terrible, but not great either. So it's a shame. Like it sort of feels like there's absolutely, I think a lot of the things that they're doing is what they planned originally, but they're taking sort of shortcuts to get to the end, right? So it's like, I don't want to say, but sort of like Game of Thrones final season, where like probably in the books, if you haven't seen the spoilers, but I don't care, um, it's been long enough. Like you know that Danny probably is gonna turn into the Mad Queen in the books if they're ever gonna be finished, which I doubt at this point. But that probably was always the plan. But it just didn't work for anybody because they cut all the steps towards, like they built this character up as the Messiah, and then suddenly she's the evil queen. Like that didn't make any sense. And I think that sort of is not to the extreme, but Veilguard is suffering from the fact that we have some things build up, they don't deliver that, and there's even with companions, like if you, for example, it's not really a spoiler, but like if you romance Harding, there's a point that you basically can't be intimate because of her suddenly, yeah, strange magic she developed, and that's never really followed up because you can then still romance her, properly at the end, and they never
Yeah.
mention, okay, how did they solve that? Like, and that's like with every character more or less. There it depends, like Emmerich is really well done, I'd say, because he has like I think he's the only one really where sort of the choice you have to make between two options you have for their sort of final build, right, for their final abilities. Like he's the only one that actually is meaningful, where you actually have sort of a choice where you see, oh yeah, like you have to make a difficult choice between, it has like a comes at the price, him following his dreams, or choosing a different path, for while with everybody else it doesn't really matter. That's kind of a bit of a shame that, while again it has, like, I love all these characters, these companions are great, and it has all the hallmarks of a Dragon Age game, but it just has, I think it's just a victim of it's the troubled development cycle. But they have, definitely put in hooks for a sequel, or maybe DLC. But I think definitely, I think it's mostly for a sequel where they probably will go outside of Thetis, which is the world of Dragon Age. Literally, it's like, I think it stands for the Dragon Age setting, and they never changed that. Um, but there's it's just a continent. There's a world outside of it. So they have plenty of opportunity to explore that. But I do hope that when they get to that, and I hope they will get to that, because obviously it's EA. We never know with them, if they're gonna bite, that they will just be able to deliver on that vision that they have, and they're not forced to compromise or to change it halfway through. Like, just let them cook, right? That's all we ask. EA, let Bioware cook. Um, Other than that, yeah, I played a bunch of things over the holidays. but yeah, not worth mentioning aside from the DLC for or the free content for Astrobot, the Christmas level, which was great with the new robots and all, basically, the being able to use all your abilities there was pretty fun. And I've been playing mostly Indiana Jones, and yeah, I got to say, you guys talked about last time as well that you enjoyed it, and I say, yeah, I agree. It's far more enjoyable than I expected it to be. I should have never doubted machine games, of course. You mean, even if it's not directly their wheelhouse, they're known for the Wolfenstein games, but in a sense, it is sort of very logical that they would make Indiana Jones games, because after all, who's the biggest Nazi killer aside from Blazkowicz? Of course, that's Indiana Jones. So makes total sense. Yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying it so far. It does. I guess you have to get used to it. The fact that, like, if you want to play as a shooter, which you can try, but you probably will regret immediately, because it's like you can shoot. You can shoot Nazis, of course. You can pick up weapons, but like you can't reload your the weapons you pick up. You basically just have your pistol or your revolver. Um, and as soon as you start shooting, they will shoot back. Like, you're way better off just sneaking around and using melee attacks, because they will usually just attack you with melee attacks as well, as long as you don't pull a gun. Um, but yeah, I definitely enjoying so far. I'm sort of halfway through, I guess, with I'm still in Geese. I think there's like 4 worlds or levels or help areas or whatever you want to call them. Uh, but yeah, I'm kind of surprised how well they've pulled this off. So it's really sort of, they're very confined areas, but you are free to roam in these areas, and you can put on disguises, you can um, solve puzzles, find collectibles, and I do enjoy that they've allowed you to uh, go back to previous areas even after you completed them, so you can still go for the side quests and the collectibles that you missed the first time around. And also quite like, I'd say that Troy is doing a great job of impersonating Harrison Ford here. You can still hear it, because he's been in so many games at this point. You will hear Troy in any role he plays, but yeah, he is really really doing his best to have all these sort of typical inflections that Harrison Ford has, and sort of this indie idiosyncratic way of speaking and quotes and etc. So it does work. The only thing I think is a bit awkward every time the cutscene is, like, the camera sometimes moving to like, for example, hovering over them, and then you think, oh, there's somebody watching them, but then nothing happens because it's just the way they frame that scene. Um, that's sometimes odd. Like, it sometimes sort of lasts a bit too long, where you're thinking, oh, there's something coming. Somebody has heard them. There's a twist coming, and then nothing happens because it's just them talking, and the scene just yeah, outstays welcome, I guess. But overall, yeah, definitely an enjoyable experience. Like, I'm playing it in Game Pass, so it's for free. But
Facts.
I'd say, if you're waiting for the PlayStation version, I'd say it's worth getting it. Definitely support machine games, because they're the only good studio that Microsoft has these days. So make sure that they
Damn.
don't close them. Yeah, I mean, it's fair, right?
It is fair.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's it.
Cool. Well, it sounds like your end of year is going solid. A
Hmm.
platinum and now Indiana Jones. Um, yeah, I'm definitely of two minds on that game. But yeah, when you get to the parts where Machine Games really shines, you can really feel it. come through in that game when they get to the comfort zone, with the proper shooting. But yeah, I definitely feel where you're coming from. Morgan, how are you, ma'am, and what have you been playing?
Hi. Yeah, I'm good. I hope everybody had a great holiday, whether you celebrate or not. I hope you had a really good week. Um, yeah, I've been playing a lot these past 2 weeks since we didn't have a show last week. But start off with Banishers. I've only played about 5, maybe 6 hours in Banishers, but I really do. I like it. It's very it's one of those really decision based type of games. You play as a couple who are banishers. They essentially rid the world of spirits, right? So if somebody dies and their spirit's still here, they figure out, the reason why, and they resolve what they need to do, and then they determine whether to like banish their spirit or like send them up. So I guess they kind of decide where they go. And I don't know if this is really spoiler territory because it kind of covered it in the trailer, essentially. But your partner, there's two of you. I think they're a husband and wife. But your partner dies and becomes a ghost, as it's insinuated in the trailer. And you have to determine, you're a banisher. That's your job is to get rid of, spirits, essentially. But you have to decide whether it is you want to keep their spirit, or I should say, return their spirit to their body, or, work on, sending their spirit up. And based on the decisions you make in the game determines essentially what happens to your partner. Because in order to return your partner's spirit into their body, you have to banish other spirits. So as far as like you going around, you're kind of like a witcher in that way. Like you go around helping people get rid of like spirits and stuff like that. So the more spirits that you banish, the more that you can help the more it helps your partner to be able to return their spirit to their body. But obviously banishing is not the best I mean the most ideal situation for a spirit. Obviously, you're kind of damning them. So it's like a good, like, do you want to do this or do you not, depending. And I think, it's a very good kind of way in, way out. Like, what do you want to do? Because some of the situations that I'm caught up in, as far as the townspeople helping them and helping them get rid of like evil spirits and stuff, like the decisions you have to make, like, should I? Because the thing is, you can also, it's not just about like the evil spirits in the town. Like you can also banish a living person's spirit. So if you determine something they did was evil, you can basically kill them and banish their spirit. So it's like, do I want to do that? Like, yeah, they did something bad, but it wasn't, worthy enough for me to like kill them. But if I don't kill them, it's not going to help me get my partner's spirit back into their body. So I think it was very good. I sat there for like 10 minutes trying to figure out, like, should I do it? I don't think that what they did is that bad, but I kind of want, I want to help my partner though, but it's just like, so I thought it was, it's a very, it's the story set up very well. And I think I'm going to be like sitting with every situation, like, damn, do I really want to banish this person or not?
Oh man, the moral dilemmas.
Yeah, I love it. I love it when a game sets me moral dilemmas, because then I'm like Googling, like, damn, what happens if I do that? you know, like, is it a good? Is it bad? Like, and there's multiple, obviously, because there's two decisions you can make. There's like multiple endings to it. So, yeah, it's really good so far. But I paused it for a minute because I started it like I think 3 or 4 days before Indiana Jones came out. So then Indiana Jones came out, and I've been playing that, like I said last week, and still enjoying it, still liking it. I really like the main villain. I always like a very charismatic type of villain. And one thing that this seems to always be done, especially when the villains are Nazis, is they always make the main Nazi very charismatic and like almost charming in a way, but not really. Like he's kind of sadistic. Like it, but his performance, I don't know who the voice actor is for it, but his performance is very good. It's always intriguing whenever the cutscenes come on and he's about to go on some kind of, rant about whatever. But he's the evil Indiana, I guess, the evil archaeologist, and the things he says about, the way he manipulates his fellow Nazis is always very funny. But yeah, I'm enjoying that. I got to the last act. Like I think I'm in like the last area. There's, like we were saying, there's 4 main areas that you play in the game, and I'm on the last one. But unfortunately for Indiana Jones, the Game Awards happened, and then the announcement of The Witcher 4, which then enthralled me to get back on everything Witcher. So I've been like listening to the audiobooks. I finished the first one. I'm like almost done with the second one. Then I'll go to third. I'm gonna listen to all the audiobooks for The Witcher. I really want to get, deep within Witcher lore, which then listening to the audiobooks made me want to go back and replay The Witcher. So I ended up, pausing Indiana Jones and going back to play The Witcher 3. And like always, I'm really enjoying it. I just went and got the Henry Cavill Netflix Witcher outfit. I unlocked that. So, my Witcher's decked out, he's looking badass. So, I'm feeling myself right now. So yeah, I'm, enjoying my time in The Witcher again.
As you should.
Getting hype. I know The Witcher 4 is going to be a ways away. Like I know it's not coming out like next year or probably the year after that. Like it's probably going to be an end of the generation or beginning of the next generation game. But unfortunately, seeing that trailer and seeing Ciri and the badass, I just was like, damn, I really want to play The Witcher again.
I do not blame you.
So I had to go back. So like I said, I've been all over the place these past couple of weeks, but right now I'm like probably 35 hours into The Witcher. Like I'm on the islands now. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. I've been enjoying my time jumping from one game to the next. Not because I didn't enjoy the games I was playing. It's just, once again, I just get easily distracted by things, and I got excited about The Witcher, and that's literally just what I've been playing right now. But I'm probably going to go back to Indiana Jones and finish it, like I said, because I'm on that last area, and I'm probably like 3 hours from beating it. So, let me just get that out the way, and finish it. But yeah, that's what I've been playing.
Again, sounds good. Especially that Witcher gaming. I get it. I was very close to doing the same myself. Priscilla actually started it as well. And it's been all over my feed with a ton of people playing it. One person starting it on the Switch, so I pray for them. Good luck with that. I'm definitely not starting it on the Switch.
I couldn't even put it down when I was back, like I was at my parents' house for the holidays, and shout out to the Portal. Even on their crappy internet, it was working very well, and that's what I was doing when we weren't hanging out. Before I went to bed, I'd be on the Portal, and it was working smooth. So I mean, it even had my brother impressed. He, for whatever reason, he didn't even know about the Portal. He was just enthralled with it when he saw. He's like, "What is that?" I'm like, "Oh, it's a portal." He's like, "What the hell is a portal?"
I can second that. It also works fine with my parents' crappy internet.
See, look at there, man. It's working great on crappy ass internets. I was surprised. I was wondering. I was like, dang, because I was deep into The Witcher, and I was like, I'm going home. My parents' internet sucks. So I don't know how good this portal is going to work. It's probably going to turn it on. It's not even going to connect, and I'm going to be pissed. But it actually worked, and I was just like, and it wasn't like, laggy or where sometimes it gets kind of, the image gets fuzzy because of the internet connection. Like it actually looked great and ran great, and I was surprised. And I was showing it to my brother. I pulled up. He's a big Spider-Man fan. So I pulled up Spider-Man 2 for him, and he was playing on it. He was like, "Oh my God, I love this. I could take this to work." He was just like, "Oh man, this is so good." And I was just like, "Yeah." He's like, "Man, why didn't I know about this?" I was like, "I don't know. Like, I mean, they market it, but not crazy, PlayStation does for the Portal." So he was just like, I might have to go get one. And I was just like, "Hey, Portal's great. So
I mean, if it's still on sale, that's the time to get it because it was down to like 140 at one
yeah,
point during the holidays. So
great time to get it. Yeah.
absolutely. But yeah, also, shout out to myself for making sure you got your Switch finally so that your PlayStation was on your wired connection.
Oh
Uh
yeah.
huh. For the best results. Uh huh. It helps a lot.
It it does.
But yeah, I've seen a ton of people getting portals for Christmas, from family and friends and so on and so forth. So even way more people are gonna get to experience how great the portal is. And I mean, we have two now, so trust me, I know all about it. It's one of the best handhelds you can have, honestly, especially ergonomically. I mean, holding, it being shaped to be held just like a DualSense can't be
Yeah.
overstated how comfortable it is.
I
Yeah,
definitely was one of those people who was like, man, why is it shaped like that? Like, it's so
I
weird.
I said the
But
same
like,
thing.
but when you actually hold one, you're like, it makes perfect sense because I love the DualSense. It's a very comfortable controller, and so it would be it would be natural for obviously this Portal device to be essentially a DualSense cut in half, and then there's no like learning curve with it. Like with some handhelds, you got to get used to it, like the feel of it. But with this, it being essentially a DualSense, you're already accustomed to it, and the weight and everything feels great. My hands or whatever don't get tired holding it up. Like it's a perfect weight. The screen's big, like it's crystal clear. Games look great on it. And then shout out to PlayStation. They just announced that it got 2 million sales. So like 3% of all PS5 owners, I guess, own a Portal now, and that's essentially pretty good. I think Steam Deck has like 3 million sold. So, being that close, that's honestly insane. And obviously PlayStation wasn't expecting to sell that many. I don't think I'm pretty sure that the number they had in mind was not that.
Yeah, they stated
So
it
The
the
definitely
fact
way
that
it
exceeded
was
their
received,
expectations.
the way it was received previously, the initial receive, yeah, we all mocked it, and then
yeah, I was definitely one of those people. I was like, bro,
yeah,
why would they do this?
we all significantly mocked it,
Yeah.
and you actually started to see people change. Even Viper, one of the
Hmm.
people that mocked it, all of a sudden he got one, and then Innate, and then Weeb, and then you. And the funny part
Hmm.
is I'm the only one that's never gonna get one because I don't need one.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
I
makes sense.
literally
It's
play.
just yeah, because I was definitely on the train of like, that is so random. I have my phone or I have a tablet. Like, what's the point of this? I don't need this, blah, blah, blah. And then, um, Priscilla and Nate got one and they were talking about it. And I was like, dang, that sounds pretty good. Cause sometimes I'm just in my bed. And even though I have like an iPad and everything, I don't feel like putting it on my lap. It's kind of like when I'm laying in bed, it's not the most comfortable to be playing on remote play with it. And then I have to, hook, put Bluetooth in my controller and it's just kind of annoying. And so I was like, let me try this out. Got it. And I was like, hold up. I like this thing. And then
Where
obviously with
was
my
this
wrap
in
up, I
my
put
life
like
before?
90 hours on my damn Portal for this year.
So how is
I,
the battery life for the Porto?
the battery life's pretty good.
It's really good.
I want to say,
Mhm.
because I don't even turn my screen brightness all the way up. Like I keep it pretty low because I
I
don't really
mean,
need it
yeah, you
bright.
play it, you game,
So
you put it on charge and you sleep, right?
yeah, well, yeah, but I don't really charge it much when I'm playing. So I would say I probably get around like 5, 6, maybe 7 hours on it without having to
I
charge
mean,
it.
that's good. That's
So
great,
yeah,
especially for, not something that you take on the road with you or
yeah,
something like that.
it works pretty good. And if I do need to charge, I have like like a 10-foot cable, so it's not a big deal if I do need to charge it. But yeah, the battery life's really good. Um, I enjoy the hell out of my Portal. I again, like I said, I was on the doubt train. I was like, this is so stupid. I don't understand
Everyone
this.
was.
And it completely changed my mind. And it's so funny because I still see talk about it online, and unfortunately, a lot of misinformation happens with it. People are assuming, like I saw somebody tweet about it and they said, oh man, what's the point of this? You can't take it out of your house. And I was like, wait, what? People still think, because back in the day with remote play, you know, before the update in I think 2020 or something like that,
But way
you couldn't
before then.
use you couldn't use remote play outside of your home. Like you had to be on the same Wi-Fi as your PlayStation 5.
Do you
And
think it's information or it's just confusing?
no, I'm saying, well, yeah, people, that's what I'm saying is, I mean, misinformation is still, I mean, it's still confusion. So it's the same thing. I don't think there's, with some people, I don't think there's nefarious purposes with it. I just think they're just misinformed. Like they don't know. And so, you know, I saw somebody tweet that and they got like 30,000 likes and I'm like, oh my God. People don't know. And if somebody said it in the comments, like, you do know you can use this outside of your home, and they were like, wait, what?
This is why when people show themselves using it at like the airport and other stuff like that, people are like,
and they were
what?
like, oh, wait, so you can use it outside the home? They were like, yes, like you can use it on any Wi-Fi. Like, I think the main gripe about it when it was released was that, you know, people wanted to use it to travel, and it was hard because they didn't have the ability to hook up to like the hotel or whatever internet, the internet that requires like you know, the little passkey little thing before you can get into it. You couldn't do that with the portal, and that was inhibiting a lot of people from using it outside of like home network. But then finally PlayStation updated it so you could use it with, you know, things that had a you know, like a security became a lot easier to do. And then now, obviously, with the introduction of cloud, you know, and I've played on the cloud with the portal, and it works amazing. Like, look, this is I'm not trying to throw shit. Okay, but it's looking like it once again. Xbox has been put into last place on another category because their cloud is ass. I'm sorry, but it is. And the cloud on PlayStation Portal, it's like, it's seamless. Like I was playing Miles Morales and Ghost on it because I upgraded because you need the premium to do the cloud. So I upgraded and I was like, I just want to try it out to see how it is. And then obviously it's in beta because this is like the first time it's been on the portal. And it was working phenomenal. It was working just as good as remote play. I was just like, why can't xCloud work like this? Okay. But I don't want to hear people all the time. Maybe it's your internet. Listen, I have essentially 3 different cloud services. I have GeForce now, I have xCloud, and I have PlayStation Cloud, you know, PS Cloud. And they're all using the same Wi-Fi. Okay. And there's clearly a massive difference between the 3. GeForce Now is the best one. Like with GeForce Now, it feels like I'm playing on console. Like there's barely any stutter. Like it's seamless, and you're streaming off of a 480, so you get like all the perks of a PC without having to have a PC. So it works great. You know, when it doesn't have like technical issues as far as like it not wanting to come up like with the server. But when it works fantastic. xCloud on my same internet, I get so many stutters. It'll crash. I get like audio glitches and stuff like that. Like the audio won't sync up with the, you know, with the motion capture. Controller will randomly disconnect. Sometimes I'm waiting in line in a queue for like 30 minutes, like especially if it's like a Xbox game that just dropped. You know, I'll be in the queue for forever just waiting to get into the game. And then, you know, every 5 seconds I'm getting a notification, oh, internet's messing up. I'm like, it shouldn't be. I mean, my experience when I was playing like Redfall for the first time was atrocious. I mean, on top of the fact that the Redfall was just not good, but the actual playing of it, like it kept kicking me out when we were playing. And I was trying to play with Nate in co-op. Like it just kept acting up the entire time. And you know, when I played Hellblade, I tried Hellblade 2 on the cloud first before I played it on GeForce, and it was just not cooperating. So the xCloud has been in beta for like 7 years. I'm trying to figure out how long is this beta period gonna go on before y'all like fix something. And then I tried PS Plus or PlayStation Cloud, and it just works. So I'm just like, What is it about Xbox specifically that they just can't get their service correct? And, they're a Windows-based company, so I'm just like, what is the issue that y'all can't get this up? But then they try to tell me that cloud is the future of gaming, but they can't. Whatever, everything's an Xbox, but we can't get our xCloud to work correctly. But okay, this wasn't meant to be a rant about xCloud, but PlayStation Cloud works great on the portal. That's a great incentive now. And they said that they were always planning on putting cloud on the portal. They were just, I guess, waiting to get everything correct, which is what you should do when you're doing a cloud-based service. So if they end up getting like all of their games on the cloud, I mean, I guess that'll be an even better incentive for people to pick up the portal. You don't have to keep your PlayStation on. Everything syncs. You can play your game and then sync it back to your PlayStation and go, continue your game or whatever.
Not only do you not need your PlayStation on, but someone else could play on the PS5, and you could play via
exactly
cloud.
Like yeah, because that's one thing I definitely wanted, to be able to play. Because my sister likes to turn on my PlayStation and play it sometimes, and I'm like, oh, I'm on remote play right now. You can't. So being able to play on the cloud and then have somebody else that can play your PlayStation or whatever would free up a lot of people, and they'd be like, it'd be great, especially for a full household who has a lot of people, maybe a lot of kids who all want to play on the PlayStation. Somebody can play on the portal, and you can get a couple of them for the price of a PlayStation, and you'd be like, here, just y'all two can play on the cloud. That one can play on the PlayStation, and then everybody's happy. So,
Exactly.
The portal looks like it's gonna be a great starter for PlayStation's remote play / cloud initiative. So I'm happy with it. It's fantastic.
Agreed. Yeah. Both you and Priscilla both gave it a shot and seem to really like it. So again, just another plus on the reasons to have a portal, among many. But yeah, Karaba, how are you, man? And what have you been playing at the end of 2024, sir?
So yeah, I'm trying to figure out if Morgan is sponsored by PlayStation Portal. But
See now, the other show you was like, oh man, you getting your Xbox ambassador on. So you gotta pick one, Omar.
yeah, I mean, you went from Xbox Ambassador, but that's no longer available. So now you're being sponsored by Portal.
Oh man.
But yeah, with that being said, yeah, I got the plot in Sackboy Adventure finally. So
Weird, but congrats.
it's a duality between an amazing game and one of the worst multiplayer game I've ever played in the same sentence. Basically, it's glitchy, it's laggy, it's atrocious. If you think depth of perception was bad in Astrobot, this was a whole different ball game when it comes to the multiplayer. As for the single player, it's a great experience to the point where I actually enjoyed it more than Astrobot. It have
You take
one
that back.
chapter called basically you need to do 10 levels I think after each other. It's kind of like a race against the clock but also yourself. It's a great one. I had it, and shout out to what's his name, Prince on Twitter. He is the one that helped me with doing the multiplayer levels, which we had a blast, but the game screwed up over so many times, it's not even funny. With that being said, I started also Lost and Random, and the character models, I'm so interested in it. It's seriously unique as fuck, and the story is interesting, but I'm not that far. Like, I literally just got my dice, and I like the colors. I like the concept for the gameplay. How you manage your dice and chooses a card, and other than that, I started a game called
Hold up, Omar. I thought you already played Lost and Random.
sorry, Lost at Random.
Yeah, I thought you already played that.
I only started it like last week or this week.
Huh?
Yeah, I never played it.
Thought you did. Huh?
I literally never played it. That's just my first time.
Huh?
I played a game. I'm playing a game called Hungry Shark World, and it's basically shark with jetpack. If that makes sense, it's great. I'm having a blast with it. Apparently, it's it's a mobile game, which I had no idea. I'm playing it on PlayStation 5, the PS4 version. It's either PS Plus Premium or you can buy it for $10, and I'm having a blast with it. There is practically no story. It's just they throw you in a world full with uh, sh- um livestock and said eat and enjoy and defeat enemies and stuff like that. It's a blast. I'm having fun. It's nothing serious. It's casual. Other than that, I finally beat Cyberpunk. Um, I started the DLC, but I took a break from it. Um, Mostly because I reached my limit with Cyberpunk in sense of too much Cyberpunk at one point. So I'm on a break with that game. And the fun part is I told Morgan I'm not gonna get all the ending and then choose the best for me. I was gonna choose one ending and stick with it. I got by accident literally the suicide ending, not knowing it's the suicide ending. So I had to go back and do the actual ending that I wanted,
Mm-hmm.
which I went with the Nomad. In my mind, that's the best ending. Whether I did it, whether I, what do you call it? Um, I'm happy with the outcome. I locked in for having the Nomad be my ending because I did one of the other ending. I did Fear No Reaper, which I actually had to go back just to reload an older save file, which luckily I saved so much and did all the correct options so I can do Fear the Reaper mission. Which, not gonna lie, it felt like the actual ending of the game. It's just when you die in Fate, it's one of the worst ending in my opinion. But yeah, all by all, um, it's starting the DLC is such a blast. In my opinion, one of the best opening for a DLC in any game I've ever played, and I can't wait to see what I'm going to play after finishing Hungry Shark and Lost Random. Probably gotta go back and play .hack GU because I still need to finish 2 and 3 and 4. But that's about it for me.
Cool. Uh, a couple games as per usual for you, but at least you
I
platinumed
went
one,
from
finished a
one
couple.
game. I went from one game which was Cyberpunk. I literally no liked the hell out of Cyberpunk.
Because it was
And
amazing, which you can admit
when
now.
I finished when I finished Cyberpunk, only then I started going multiple games at the same time.
Mm-hmm. And before we move on, because we're not going to gloss over that, uh, you were wrong about Cyberpunk, were you not?
If I played the older
No,
version,
nah, nah,
no.
nah, nah, nah,
But
nah,
the
nah, nah,
newer
nah. That
version,
we nah,
the
nah, nah,
newer
nah.
version,
Ain't no
why no? Why
technicality,
no?
bruh.
Why no?
Ain't no
Why no?
technicality. I said you were wrong about Cyberpunk, the game that you played as it stands
The
right now.
upgraded version, yeah, I
They're
agree.
not the
I
Oh
you
would
you
not.
man.
would
No,
nah.
I genuinely wouldn't enjoy what you call it, the original one.
Every single thing that you liked in this game is from the original version. We ain't talking about glitches. Every single thing that you liked was from the original version. We ain't talking about the DLC.
they
None of
overhauled
that
a lot of
changed.
stuff.
None of that
I
stuff changed.
Hey,
Get him. Get
all
him.
I will say is I'm glad I waited. That's
I'm
all
gonna
say.
explain for y'all because Omar likes to duck, dodge, and roll every time he has to admit something. So
No, I have
this
No, bro, I always take it
no.
out.
I literally said I have no issue admitting fault. I have literally accepted that this version of Cyberpunk is amazing. I literally said
okay.
that.
So I'm gonna
But
explain to y'all the parts that Omar
Listen.
mentioned to me in DMs frequently while he's freaking out about how amazing the characters are in this game, how amazingly well written this game are all part of the day one release of Cyberpunk. It has nothing to do with being overhauled, has nothing to do with version 2.0 or any of that crap. It is about the story and the character development and the world building that Cyberpunk started with day one. So all this whole the overhauled version, yeah, none of that. This man
dude,
liked
if
the
I
story that
was
was in place.
Dude, if I had to play and have the game freeze on me, glitch,
You
all
not
that
you
stuff,
not.
Listen,
I know
listen.
I
you
would
hear. I know
Well,
your
I'm
hearing
not
is
trying to hear
rough.
that because you played Frames Gone with no problems. All right,
can-
so
I
I'm not trying to hear
can-
none of
I-
that.
Get
I
him, Morgan. Get him.
the only
I'm not
thing,
trying to hear that.
the only thing that I experienced with frames gone is frames. I'm not joking. And one time the area didn't load. That's about it. I
Bruh.
never
Mhm.
experienced game breaking bugs or glitches. The game didn't quit on me five.
Okay, so if you had played it day one on PS5 and you didn't have none of that happen to you with Cyberpunk, then what would have been the problem?
Sorry, repeat that.
So if you had played it day one on PS5 and then you only got maybe one or two glitches, then what would have been the problem? Because I had friends, like I said, I had several crashes, but I had people who also played on PS5 who didn't really get anything. So if you were one of those people who didn't really get anything, what would have been the problem?
Then it wouldn't have been a problem.
Okay, so you can't go back and say, well, if I had got it on day one, then it wouldn't have been as good because you don't know that.
It's not about then which version would I have gotten. Would have, because remember, just because I didn't, I enjoy Frame Gone. A lot of people didn't because they had bugs.
Oh
And
yeah, you're right. You're
so
right.
it's
But
all
the bugs
about
and glitches weren't the problem.
your
But
own
go ahead.
experience.
Yeah, yeah. The bugs and glitches weren't the issue with that.
Yeah,
With
the
frames gone.
frames the
But
frames were definitely my issue because trying to steer that motorcycle at 14 FPS was not a thing. Yeah, that was
The
not
only,
happening.
the only time that it dropped frames was literally at the end, at the final area where
Yeah,
it was snowing.
it dropped frames for me. And maybe that's because you were playing on regular PS4, but I had a
Yeah,
PS4 Pro,
maybe because I'm
and
not cultured like you guys with the PC
yeah,
version.
yeah,
Play
no,
that.
not the
Okay, then.
PC version. I'm
No,
talking about playing on my PS4 Pro. That game was an absolute mess when it came out. Yeah, it was literally unplayable. I bought it and then I had to turn it off about 10 minutes later because the frame rate was so bad that steering the bike was impossible. I was running into bushes and trees and all kinds of stuff because I couldn't steer the bike because the frame rate and input lag was so bad. Yeah,
no, that never happened to me, but I feel you.
yeah.
sounds like you're day
Well-
one on that Days Gone remaster, then, huh?
What is-
Oh man,
Asking Nate, he's gonna be day one on that Days Gone remaster.
you're right. I bought it
That's
for
all it needs, it just needs a remaster.
$7 on PC.
Are they gonna patch in the story too?
Right. Because unlike Cyberpunk,
I low-key kind of want it to happen just so that what's his face can come back out and be like, "Oh, so you guys buy it now because it's a remaster? You guys didn't support me day one." What's that writer, that pissy ass writer's name who wrote that, Gavin or whatever the hell his name is?
the argument, Priscilla, is that we're establishing that Omar, who dragged Cyberpunk for 14 years straight, was wrong about about how amazing the game was.
No.
The
He's
game,
not telling.
which is what Morgan told him. She said the game itself, the bones, right? The bones were good, so the rest don't matter, like the song says, right? The world building, the character development, the gameplay, all that was day one and it was in there. And now he's talking about how he had such a blast with the game, how much he enjoyed the characters in the game with Pan Am and the bartender.
Yeah,
You know,
especially Pan Am.
especially Pan Am. So
See, I
yeah,
keep trying to tell you, see,
yep.
look, because the game Cyberpunk's been fixed for a while, and I keep trying to tell people the reason Omar put it off is because he felt some type of way that people were giving Cyberpunk a pass, and it was growing in popularity, and Days Gone wasn't. He felt some type of way about that. He was like, "Why do people keep giving Cyberpunk a pass, but when it comes to Days Gone, they shit on it for bugs?" It was like, because Days Gone is shitty. It's a shitty ass game. I'm sorry. Okay,
your
that's the
opinion.
reason.
No, Omar, that's a fact.
That's a fact, which is why it's not getting a sequel because it's shit.
No, I played. I got the platinum Days Gone. I love that game.
Yeah, me too. Doesn't make it a good game.
So why would you get? Hold up. Why would you get the platinum game you dislike?
Because I like getting
I'm
plats.
just asking. What?
Because
I
I
mean,
like getting plats.
Yeah, so, I mean,
Oh.
sometimes
Yeah,
it's just one or two more trophies, and it's a nice easy get. So you finish it up.
Now you gotta go out of your way to go for the plat.
No, not that much, really. You don't even have to get all the collectibles. So yeah,
Not all of the collectible, 50% only.
yeah, exactly. So it's not that much out of the way.
There you go.
Listen, one of these two games are getting a sequel. I can, and
Yeah.
guess which one it is. It's not gonna be Days Gone.
Shit, it's getting a sequel. It's getting another. It's getting
Nobody
another
wants that.
anime. It's
You
getting
know,
all kinds of
a
goodies.
successful anime spin-offs from it. Okay, like we just need to recognize the fact that Days Gone wasn't it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's not. It's not. And they're working on a new
was
IP now,
Fire.
and hopefully, I'm a little skeptical because they said it was gonna be live service. So, but hopefully it's something good.
Yeah,
So
we
Ben
definitely
doesn't
gotta
get
see.
the axe.
Yeah, I'm skeptical. No, real talk. When one of the characters joined you on a ride, I truly believe that felt like that could be a co-op experience if done correctly.
Yeah, there's a
Gameplay-wise.
lot of stuff like that. Did you even do the? Because I know you said you did everything, but
Yeah,
did you do the side mission with the cop
in which
in Cyberpunk?
side mission cop.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Remind me?
you talk. We're talking about the old boy. What's his name?
detective?
The detective. You better have done. That's one of the best missions in
Because
Cyberpunk.
you said you did everything, and that whole side quest is
That was a fucking amazing side quest.
significant.
What's his name? Hold on.
Oh,
You would know it, the
River.
detective. Yeah, River.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, River. Yeah, that's an insane side quest. Give me a
Okay.
second.
Yeah,
My battery died.
yeah,
Give me 2 minutes.
Yeah.
but yeah. So
I was about to say, bro, if he didn't
Yeah,
get River
that-
side quest,
that's all I'm
I
saying.
romance
'Cause-
River too. I ain't give a fuck.
yeah, because I was trying to make sure that he really did
I
that.
romanced everybody I could in that game. Yeah. Shout out
Ash-
to River. That was exactly.
The
I
art
love
book.
that. That
Oh,
was an
see,
amazing
Hero
side
knows
quest.
what's up. He bought the art book and the guidebook for Cyberpunk. Absolutely.
I did too. I can't find it, y'all. Let my brother borrow the hardcover.
Oh man.
Yeah, the
You gave him
hardcover
the
art
good
because
stuff?
I ordered it before the game came out,
Can you guys hear me?
and
Yeah.
and now I can't find it. So I'm like,
Oh yeah, gotta find that.
yeah.
I'm back. As for River, as much as I enjoyed his side quest, to me the best one is the governor. Where,
no. Can't.
No, I mean that was a good
River
side
was my
quest too.
favorite.
I was just making sure that you actually did that side quest.
Yeah, no, I did
Yeah.
everything. Like I 100% the game if that's possible. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
it is.
there are. I think the cup one where you need to save all the cups or stuff like that. There are a lot of them. I'm not sure if they are random or on the map all of a sudden you see them where you need to pick up something or save a robbery or stuff like that. I'm
Yeah,
not sure if they're ready.
I'll tell you something that I'm pretty sure you didn't do, and I'll tell you it later because I don't want to tell it on air because I
Okay.
completed the game 15 times and I never did it. So
Yeah, I mean, you
yeah,
can miss a lot of things with this game if you're not careful.
yeah, this is a really specific thing that you only can do in a moment, and most people didn't know it was actually possible.
Like,
And I never knew. So I'll explain it later because I don't want to spoil it.
yeah, for Fear the Reaper, I literally had to go and check if I have an older save file. Otherwise, I don't think I would have gone out of my way to start a new game just to do the the Reaper side
Well, that's another good thing.
engine.
Cyberpunk has a lot of autosaves, so
Yeah.
it's very good at
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah, no,
yeah,
it have such an amazing save. Like we went from having one save file in some games to literally over 300 saves. I'm not joking.
yeah,
You can literally reach 300 and still continue. Like
yeah. I've had to go through. It's one of the few games where I've had to go through and delete a couple of older saves just because I felt like it was bothering the game at some point.
that's what I thought is going to happen. So that's why I started to deleting a lot of the save file. Even if I have to give them props for just two technical things, it's how quick you save and load. Loading is a little bit on the not that fast side, but saving is so quick, and also I forgot I think it's a saving. Saving is quick as fuck. It's like it's beyond quick. Shout out to them for that.
Yeah, you did mention that to me. But yeah, as for what I've been playing, obviously we talked about playing Indiana Jones. I'm still working on that. It's a struggle. I ain't gonna lie, as you guys are well aware that
Wait, struggle?
I'm gonna explain. I mean, hold on. As you guys are aware, I'm not the biggest puzzle fan on the planet.
Yeah.
Uh, my main issue though is the pacing. So far the puzzles haven't been much of an issue. It's the pacing, and the fact that I'm still in the same area. Uh,
Yeah, you're still in the Vatican, right?
yeah. Now I'm just
Yeah,
like
I mean the
like
Vatican area is pretty
Oh
slow.
man,
like they put you on
stay,
top of
stay
it.
away from the priest. Stay away from the priest, Nate.
Man, it's rough out there. Like they put you on top of the Vatican, on the left side of the Vatican,
Yep.
to the right of the Vatican, under the
I'm,
Vatican.
I'm under.
Like I'm just like, bro, can I go somewhere else, please? Like so, yeah. Yeah. I mean, everything else is enjoyable. Again, it's just the pacing to get out of this Vatican is just like, God, someone really loved the Vatican. Like it was someone's like, you know, Hogwarts, castle in this game. Like someone really wanted you to explore every inch and modicum of, you know, the Vatican for whatever reason. So yeah, that's like my biggest gripe with that right now. Uh, randomly, and this is super random, but I've been playing Call of Duty multiplayer. I don't even want to talk about that or
Yeah,
why.
unfortunately,
What?
I've
Yeah,
been having to hear his his expletives every time his teammates fuck up. Just oh my god, bro, why would they do that? Like this man over there raging.
I mean, you were laughing though. You were enjoying the rage, so yeah. So there is that. It's also double XP for like 8 days or something, and I'm realizing how beneficial that is. So that's another reason why I'm trying to kind of get past that. I enjoy it sometimes. Other times I want to strangle half the planet based on that game, and it's terrible tick rate and ping connection and a bunch of other stuff that should not be an issue on pretty much one of the world's foremost, most popular multiplayer games. They should definitely have better servers. It's a shame. Um, but yeah, I've been playing that. And then also Romancing Saga 2. I've been finally getting around to that periodically here since I finished Metaphor. So it's been nice to get around to that. That's thrown me some curveballs, some stuff I've never seen in other JRPGs. I've been talking to another big JRPG guy on Twitter about it that I guess he played it originally. Once I kind of got to some of the curveballs, he was just like, man, how'd you feel about that? Who'd you pick? And now I kind of get the jarringness of how some people felt when they're like, oh man, you get to the time skip. And then, a lot of people don't really like it, but it's a mechanic in the game. It's just kind of something you got to get used to. It's very weird. I get it. I don't want to, I'm not going to ruin it for nobody, how that game works if you're curious. But it is definitely an extremely unique thing. I've never seen it done in any other game ever.
Which game?
Romancing Saga 2.
Oh yeah, that one.
Yeah. So, it's been pretty interesting so far. I also went back and I'm working on some of the expeditions for No Man's Sky. They do what they call a redux at the end of the year, where they bring back all of the expeditions for like 2 weeks each, and then you can just run through and complete them and get the rewards and so on and so forth. So I've been playing through that as well. If anybody's heard me before on the show, really enjoyed No Man's Sky. Great game, constant amazing ongoing support. So yeah, really just been enjoying that as well. And then I wanna say that it's it. Oh, and then I at some point started Mario Brothership, which was the recent Mario RPG-ish kind of game out of the 3 that they released. That was like the big new one. Outside of Mario RPG, which I'm also still playing. I did not pick up the origami one, but I will eventually, most likely. But yeah, I think that's really it. And obviously, I did play some Killing Floor 2 with Priscilla, which she is playing right now, because we can't stop killing the floor, as we say in one of our discords. So can't wait for Killing Floor 3. Speaking of the state of gaming in 2025. But yeah, for our first thing we're gonna do here real quick, I saw Brap and them did it on their show. I'll run it down a little bit differently so it's easier to remember what our picks were. They did like a round robin where they just mentioned one and then went to the other and eventually got to 5 picks. But what we're gonna do is give our 5 favorite games of 2024, and then I'll do a poll here and we'll see what everybody thinks, who had the best 5 picks, and we're just gonna go from there. So I did put it in the chat. If anybody's unprepared, just say so. But yeah, we'll start with.
I am unprepared.
I knew you were gonna say it. Well, I'll call on you last for the class, man.
Oh, that's not gonna help.
Oh my God, you're so bad.
I'm not doing this assignment,
You're
guys.
hold up. You're the one that asked for a show to be happening, yet.
Hey. First of all,
Hey.
yeah. That was your job, sir. You didn't deliver, so you need to hush. All right.
It's my job, and literally nothing happened with
Get
that.
it.
I did.
Anyway.
Something random.
I did tell Morgan about the assignment first, so I'm gonna have to talk to her after class.
So we had. Wow.
And just like
okay.
school, I put it off and procrastinated.
But Omar just volunteered to go first.
Yeah.
Okay, I will go first.
Yeah.
Might be those random games
so-
you never heard of in 2024. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Omar.
your 5 favorite games. So let's go ahead and start with Animal Well. No, I'm just playing, but probably.
Okay.
Yeah,
No, wait.
you remind
And
me.
the games have to actually come out in 2024.
Yeah.
Omar. So not
you
not
remind me.
games that you played.
Animal Well is one of them. Thank you for reminding me. Animal Well, Astrobot, of course. I'm not sure David the Diver came 2024, but on
I will-
PlayStation at least.
I will double check
Okay.
that. I did say if the game was released for you. So Dave the Diver did come out in 2024 as far as PlayStation. So you
Okay.
can have that one if you want.
Okay. Dave the Diver, I put a lot of time in that game and I have a blast. Which is why I'm having fun with this short game. Other game would be Prince of Persia, Golden Crown. Can't wait to go back to the DLC. Shout out to them for that gem. Another one is Freedom and Democracy. Helldivers 2. Put a lot of time with you guys with Helldivers 2.
So
Went
that's your
so
5
fast
games.
that- and I was sneaking one last one, and
Nah. He gets against the rules.
I'm not allowed to do so.
No,
Okay.
no.
Well, it has to be. You have to have 5 picks because everybody else
Okay.
has 5 picks.
Yeah, I got you. Then 5 it is.
So yours was Animal Well, Astrobot, Prince of Persia, Helldivers 2, and what else?
And Dave the Diver.
Dave the Diver. All right.
Actually, I've easily gone with metaphor, but still, I
Hey.
need to give the underdog.
No, I pretty much picked out 4 of the games last night when I made this topic that you were gonna pick. While I was talking to Morgan,
Okay.
I was talking to Morgan and Priscilla, and I picked those out.
As for the game that disappointed me the most,
Yeah.
Plucky Squire.
Plucky Squire. Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
I can say I've seen that coming.
I have
Yeah, I said he was gonna say that because that's what Priscilla said that was gonna be on Omar's top 5 list, and I said no, he didn't like that game, so no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was so excited with that one, but
I know. That's why I
Omar
called
doesn't
you out.
like
I was
fun.
like, don't shit on IGN just yet. You gotta wait to play it. You're like, no, but that's crazy. Why would they give it a 7? I said, or they gave it a 6 or something like that.
I couldn't imagine they can fuck something that up, and they did, in my
Mhm.
opinion.
I told you, we gotta wait.
Yeah.
Wait on it.
But nobody cares for your opinion, so.
I already know one that's gonna be on Weaves. I don't know about the rest because we played a variety this
Yakuza.
year. Oh yeah, absolutely, Yakuza. But Weeb, what are your 5 picks and then your most disappointing game of the year?
My 5 picks, of course, Astrobot, which I will continuously remind Omar that I got it right. Of course, as you already mentioned, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, which would have been my go-to if Astrobot hadn't come along and blew everybody's expectations away. I will also put on The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom, which also surprised me as how good it was. Obviously, Zelda games generally are very good. And I really love the old school Zeldas that this was clearly based on. But I really loved how they
The one where
managed to surprise me.
This is the one
Huh?
where you play as
As,
the princess.
as
Right?
actual Zelda, yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay.
It took them like 20 games or something, and finally the name is right.
The name is right.
playing-
Yeah.
yeah. That was actually it surprised me how fun it was. You have freedom. You can basically summon enemies you defeated, and use objects to for basically getting verticality. I really enjoy that, but without throwing everything overboard like a Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom do, where they're just essentially giving you too much freedom and not enough real story, I'd say, or real sort of narrative. Not that Zelda does have a great narrative generally, but like it's giving you freedom to explore without without making it feel like, okay, but this is not Zelda anymore. This is just a sandbox that just happens to have a Zelda skin.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. and was surprisingly the story was surprisingly dark, which I really loved. Sort of this combination of very cute graphics, but then also a pretty grim story. Um, so yeah, it's 3. Then I do want to put Dragon Age of Vilgard on there. Even it's like as we said before the show, it's not the games that you think deserve GOTY, but like the games that you enjoy the most. And like I said in the intros, like it's definitely a flawed game for a Dragon Age experience, but it is a Dragon Age experience, and I enjoyed it. And I really just want more. Like I really want more in this world,
Yeah.
because it's yeah. I mean, of course, it is one of the two greatest IPs that Bioware has. You're particularly partaken with Mass Effect, which I love too.
Uh-huh.
But I just love all the world building of Dragon Age, and I really hope that they can make more of that. So
I
um,
think we agree though that I agree with all your points that if they clean up a lot of that stuff
yeah,
in the next Dragon Age, uh, as well well as bringing back some of the fight in it, so some of the
yeah,
spite in some of those answers, that they could really take it to the next level and uh, bring a lot of fans back into the fold, because like you said, that's not a thing that usually happens with BioWare, where you're like, hey, this thing happened and then we just forgot about it and
yeah,
we
yeah.
never explored that. Like they don't really do that. So like the fact that you
Uh,
notice that is definitely an oversight on their part. So yeah, I agree with all your points
Yeah,
on that.
it is, and it's not that, like I said, it's not that's well, intentional, but in the sense that this was always a plan. Like if you know what, like I said, what they were planning to do, they had some really wild out plans there that would really pay off, longtime fans. But
Yeah.
yeah, it is what it is. So, but like I said, I still enjoyed it, and yeah, it's just, you call it a guilty pleasure, whatever you want to call it, but to me, it's like even though as a fan, I can see the flaws, and that's kind of the thing, I guess. If you're not a fan, like you mentioned, Priscilla really enjoyed it, and she didn't play the previous games. Like it is
Yeah.
definitely a game that's very accessible if you're new to the franchise, and you won't see those flaws. But
Yeah.
if you are a fan, you will definitely see sort of, okay, yeah, this, and even in the game, like I said, there are some things that are not followed up, even though they're set up. So it is sort of it's a fantastic game. It's really polished, runs flawlessly, looks great, and great gameplay. Uh, but the greatness is there. There are signs of that greatness that shimmer through it at times, but it doesn't hit those high notes that at least 1, 2 for me had. But again, I still, of the games I played this year, it's definitely in my top 5. And to wrap it off, East 10 Nordics. I'm a huge East fan as well. I was waiting for this game for the longest time. I guess technically the game came out in Japan before 2024, but its Western release was this year. And I understood they're also going to release a royal version, or whatever you want to call it, as well, which I'm not mad about, because Persona is doing it, and they saw, we can do that too, right? And they did. Um, but yeah, I mean, if you want to get into the East games, are definitely one of the best ones to get into it, because it's really early in the timeline, even though you don't really need to play any of the previous games, because every game is sort of its own adventure. It's just the same character, and there is continuity. It's not, you know, it's not rebooting like a Zelda game every time. Um, but yeah, I mean, it was a thoroughly fun experience. Loved all the characters, the gameplay decisions they made with switching up basically by giving you only two characters this time around, but having them be able to do combination attacks and use their strength that they were together as part of the gameplay. I absolutely loved it, and you can always win me over with the Viking setting.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean those were my five top picks. And as for my most disappointing one, I'd say Hellblade 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can I can down with that.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
solid pick.
Why'd
yeah.
you pick at mine, bastard?
Hey, you wanted to go last with the class,
Yeah,
man.
you right.
yeah,
Hey, you
and
had
then-
the chance
no-
to be fair.
yeah. Now nobody is going to believe you. That was your pick.
Damn it.
No.
You have only
I
yourself to blame, I guess.
But I knew it was going to be yours too, Morgan, because you were even more looking
you?
forward to it than I did.
Yeah.
And and you see, like it is, it is technically, it looks gorgeous, and um, you can see sort of the ambition, I guess, but it's short. It's devoid of actual gameplay for the most part. It doesn't have the depth that the first game had, um, both in terms of gameplay and even in impact of the story. Like I did like it in the end, but it is much more truncated version of the first game. Like it sort of felt like they initially thought, oh yeah, no, we can do that bigger and better, but maybe this is perhaps a thought for maybe it shouldn't have had a sequel if you can't really, if your entire point was a bringing forth a message, sort of like what it's like to be, having schizophrenia, right? Have that condition and sort of experience it as a gamer and bringing awareness to it. And now it feels more like, you just, you add a hit, you want to make, more money or more
So
recognition.
what you're telling me
And
is
that,
it didn't feel as a genuine, passionate sequel. It felt like cash
it,
grab.
well, I wouldn't say cash grab because that makes it feel like it's monetized and just cheaply made. Like it's not cheaply made by any extent of the word, but it definitely feels more hollow. Like it's more pretentious now that, oh, look at the pretty graphics, and less about, oh yeah, we also had a message that we want to bring across. And that's sort of the biggest disappointment, because as hyped up as we're, like people were expect, like, to be fair, I didn't expect the game to be longer than the first game, because even though people were hyping it up like, oh, this is going to be our God of War. Like, no, if they did that, it wasn't going to be Hellblade anymore. That was not the point of this game. It was supposed to be a double A game with triple A graphics, right? That was the entire point of Hellblade. And if they're gonna change that, then yeah, it's no longer Hellblade. But the problem is, in the end, it's not really. I guess it wasn't a mistake to make this a franchise. They should have just left it at one game. And
Yeah, I agree.
I'm fine with them making other games and using certain, creating certain awareness for certain topics, even if that's the same topic. I don't mind, but this kind of feels like they just they just took on more than they actually could deliver on. It was probably never gonna work in terms of making the hype come through. Like they sort of set themselves up there for failure, I guess. But it's still a decent game. I'm not saying it's not the worst game I played this year, but certainly in terms of what the expectations were, my expectations, I think everybody else's expectations, it certainly disappointed most. And perhaps still a bit overhyped and maybe overrated in the sense that like didn't agree with the voice actors getting the same award again for performance, because it wasn't really different. It wasn't really better than the first game.
That was my real argument, is like she got it twice for essentially doing the same damn thing. Like, I was like, come on now.
And at that point, it feels like you didn't really. We had the discussion before. Like, I don't understand why they're just nominating English voice actors, even for games that were Japanese and had an original Japanese voice track, and they still nominate dub actors. Like, why? Like that's just blatant racism, in my opinion. Like, they're absolutely fantastic performances by Japanese actors or any other actor, depending on where. Like, Chinese would probably be up for contention as well in the future iteration if that industry hits it off. But yeah, I mean, it's incomprehensible to me that they're not giving them their flowers when they deserve it. But yeah,
Agreed.
it's what it is.
As for my picks, obviously, Metaphor, Refantasio, number 1. These are not in order. It just happens to be, I put Metaphor first, which happens to be my game of the year, but they're not particularly in order. Number 2, Unicorn Overlord. Absolutely. Stellar Blade. Again, phenomenal game. Number 4, Black Myth Wukong. And number 5, Persona 3 Reload. When I really think about it, those were pretty much some of my tops. I did have some really, really insane surprises this year. We were all looking forward to Bloomtown, but I didn't think that game would come out as cool as it did. But yeah, it just slightly didn't make the cut. Over I thought about, because we're talking about our 5 favorite games, and I feel like
Bloomtown is fun. It's just too many games to sit alone.
well, no, but that's what I'm saying. It's like I didn't play it as much. If I had played more of it, it probably would have went over Persona 3 Reload, but it didn't. And then Helldivers 2 was also a lot of fun, but I felt like these games were the standout, like, crazy picks. Like, my fun with Helldivers was playing with y'all. Yeah, it wasn't always the game, and that's the problem.
You lying son of a bitch.
It's what made
Probably
it
should have
fun.
reported you to the proper authorities for that one.
Yeah.
That's very non-democratic of you to say.
What is your go-to?
Metaphor.
Okay.
Yeah, Metaphor is my game of the year.
So over Stellar Blade and Wukong. Interesting. Okay.
Yes. I mean, I said that before on our other show when we were picking our game of the year. I mean, Metaphor by far.
Yeah, no, because I know how you love all 3 games. So
Yeah, we talked about that the last show, Omar. God.
Yeah, I said Stellar Blade. Stellar Blade was my runner-up, and my honorable mention of that was in probably most underrated game of the year was Unicorn Overlord. So
yeah, I know you have a lot of love for this game. That you even that I bought it. Yeah, I know.
Absolutely. My biggest disappointment of the year has to absolutely go. I want to say Hellblade 2 because God, what a mess. Jesus, that game was atrocious. But no, not at all. It's actually Dragon's Dogma 2. Holy shit.
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
The amount of people that capped for that game when it first came out, like it was the greatest thing ever invented, it is ridiculous. Because what got on my nerves is that we noticed a trend where it was like, you got to remember this game is an RPG, right? And
It's an adventure RPG, okay.
nobody mentioned the story, character development, world building. I think I heard one person mention the soundtrack.
To be fair, Dragon Dogma 1, I don't recall the story whatsoever. But
I mean,
do recall the gameplay.
that's still a problem though. You can't just rate the game 11 out of 10 and be like, all these other things suck, but hey, it does this really cool thing. And then
the gameplay. So I'm gonna talk specifically.
I mean,
about
I know about the
Dragon Dogma
gameplay.
1.
I'm not.
Shut up, oh my
Hold
God.
on, homie. There were other issues that people were pointing out. Like, people were like, "Oh my god, the combat's so amazing! I love that there's no lock on." And then I would watch them do a skill and miss 98% of the damage points of the skill. Like,
yeah, no, that's stupid.
yeah, like the person is they're a rogue and they're doing like the spinning attack, and they miss literally 98% of the skill. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, people were like praising the game at times where they were even doing badly in the game. Like the amount of passes the game was getting on all the other shortcomings was crazy. And I say it's my most disappointing because of the way people reacted to it. Because later, once the honeymoon phase disappeared, like all the recollection finally showed up, and people started talking about all of its shortcomings. And that just disappointed me so much, because it's like, it just goes to show you, which, like, don't get me wrong, like, I mean, this is why we all talk to each other about games and not necessarily the greater the greater population, because they are very much subject to the zeitgeist of what's going on. But like, even Gene Park was one of the ones that was just, I mean, this man was professionally, just giving this game all the praise in the world. And then it was like that honeymoon phase dropped off, and this man had 400 levels of criticism. And I was like, where was this criticism after you beat the game?
Dude, I'm sorry, you really mentioned this guy's name? The same dude that he is afraid of PlayStation 5, whatchamacallit,
yeah, for Witcher 4.
Holding back, yeah, like, we are, nah.
But that's what I'm saying, like, he was one of the main people that was complicit in just expertly just, like, praising this game like it had zero flaws. And then when it was said and done, he was like, well, the first game does a lot of things better. And I was like, are you for real?
Did you enjoy Dragon Dogma 2, or no?
I mean, I enjoyed some of what I played, but my disappointment from it came from
how it was received by the fan base.
Yeah, like, I felt like a lot of people were capping. Like, it was just, it was weird. But like I said, like, it was like afterwards. Like, the only person I know that really did it honestly is because they've never played a game like that. So they were like freaking out. Like, they were losing their mind. So I get that.
They did it with, 16, of 16. They cut for it and only later, but this has this issue and this has this issue. I'm like, where was that energy when it first came out?
Yeah, 16 was that game prior, where a lot of people were going crazy. I mean, I heard somebody say Final Fantasy 16 was their favorite game of all time.
Yeah, and then later, well, this issue.
Oh no, they still said that because that person is 19 years old. So that explains a lot about that person's opinion. So yeah, but yeah. Anyway, I mean, yeah, those are my picks for that. That's why I went with that one, because it just, I mean, Morgan heard the excitement in my voice for Dragon's Dogma 2, and how on the fence I was about it, and how I was like, I really don't believe these people, Morgan. I don't believe these people, but I'm gonna do it anyway. And then it was like that same week, everybody was like, well, Dragon's Dogma 2 isn't really that great. And I was like, because we were like, why does no one talk about anything else? And we were like, all we ever see is people talking about stupid stuff that their pawns do in the game, and like occasionally some form of combat or the vocations. But it was like half the time most people didn't even know how to use the vocations properly. I don't know. The whole thing was weird. It was super weird. It felt like an industry plant. It was such a weird thing.
So what you needed was people like me to keep it 100.
Yeah,
Yeah. Good and the bad.
That's debatable.
Debatable?
Mm-hmm.
If you would have heard me talk about lock-on, cause absolutely not acceptable.
Whew, Lord have mercy.
Maybe
This man said
lock-on was acceptable, but we're in a different era right now. Absolutely shouldn't be acceptable.
Final Fantasy 16 was his game of the year over Spider-Man 2 because he loved the story. Whew. Yeah. Yeah, Hero. I mean, hey look. It was very it was very Final Fantasy Game of Thrones. I'll give it that.
Mean, they did go.
I mean, I know you don't get that reference because you didn't watch Game of Thrones, but.
Oh, that's probably why he loves it then, because it's like an original story for him.
Yeah, exactly.
They did go with a unique villain. I did enjoy that line.
I hated that motherfucker. He was so corny.
I hated his ending.
He was so
dude.
corny. He was so corny.
Like
he said he's a Game of Thrones mega fan. Lying.
No, not Hero. I would say Karaba is not a Game of Thrones fan. So
I thought you were saying Hero was got you.
Yeah, I was pretty sure Hero. Pretty much everybody else saw Game of Thrones except Omar. Yeah, so I was definitely just talking about Omar.
I watched a bit, but I didn't. I forgot where I stopped.
God.
But yeah, I mean, I didn't hate Final Fantasy 16, but there's a lot of people glazing the brakes off that game.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely didn't hate it because you put like 300 hours into it, right, Tony?
Anyway. I got the platinum. That's what we know.
Right. Okay.
We did get a plat, but still we can disagree. We can agree with a lot of shortcomings. We can agree with a lot of shortcomings.
But the difference is what I'll say. I don't get that people can like it. Like, but the Game of Thrones comment is specific to Omar, not anybody else, because I knew Omar specifically didn't watch Game of Thrones. But yeah. So the story bit for Final Fantasy is, I mean, I will tell you, and if you haven't heard me say it before, I'm an extremely harsh judge of character development, world building, and storytelling, because RPGs are my primary genre, and the amount of them I've played usually trumps pretty much everybody I come across. So I don't expect anyone to delve as deep as I do into some of the quirks and things that annoy me in some of these games. So yeah, yeah, there's a lot. But I also had other issues with Final Fantasy
on originality?
16 as well. You said, am I focused on what?
On originality.
Not necessarily. I mean, I'm not giving them crap for basically doing the Final Fantasy of Game of Thrones. I'm just saying there were other issues I had with it too. I mean, you know, we spoke about the lack of RPG elements and other stuff like that. That's why I said, that's why in particular 16, as though I enjoyed 16 and I got the platinum, it had a lot of shortcomings for me, and that's why I said it wouldn't take that for me. But I can see why it did for other people, especially fans of like the hack and slash genre and stuff like that. I mean, it gave them what they wanted, so I get that. But yeah, last for the class on their top 5, their favorite 5 games of the year, Miss Morgan Kimes. Can we get them 5?
Listen, I hate discussions like this.
Yeah, I know you never like it.
Like, I don't really believe in horoscopes, but one thing about me, I'm a Libra and I'm very indecisive. I don't like. I hate having to finite a list. It
I know.
pisses me off. Like I have a lot of games I like, and I don't like having to
How
dwindle
to
them
narrow
down
narrow
to
it down.
5.
Well, I mean, these are
Yeah.
just your 5 favorites. It's not that you don't have other favorites. These are just 5 favorites that you want to highlight for whatever reason. Your reasoning is irrelevant. It's just whatever reason you want.
Yeah. All right. So my top 5, obviously, Astrobot. I mean, we were all looking forward to that. We were asking Asobi to make a full-fledged game after, playing Astro's Playroom. And, I didn't think they would listen, not because they didn't want to, just because they'd have them making something else or something. I didn't think they'd kind of focus on Astrobot, but I'm glad they did. And, they killed it, obviously. 1 game of the year, well-deserved. So Astrobot's on there. Let's see. Also, Stellar Blade. If I had to have a surprise of the year, it would definitely be Stellar Blade. Saw the trailers. I thought it looked cool. I thought the character design obviously was cool, but I wasn't necessarily wanting to play it. I was just like, okay, yeah, straight, cool, a cool get for PlayStation. But then, they dropped the demo, which is always why I'm a big proponent of developers making demos. And said, I was like, well, fuck it. There's a free demo. Let me try it. Tried it, and I was like, oh my God. Okay, this is going to be a definite day one for me. I was like, okay, I'm impressed. I will get it. And, that was all she wrote. Stellar Blade. Absolutely enjoyed it. Platted it. Loved it. It was my game of the year before Astrobot came out. It was just a phenomenal game. And
Absolutely.
I'm so sad because it's like, how in this community, unfortunately, in these past couple of years, it's gotten so much fucking worse. But, there's that one extreme, side is like, oh, if a character's not attractive, I won't give it any time of day. There's plenty of games where, maybe the character isn't the best looking or whatever, but it's an extremely, good game and people have missed out on it because it's not, because of their preconceived notions of the character, right? They missed out on a gem. But then, you got the opposite end of the spectrum with Stellar Eve, being this fully sexualized character. And unfortunately, because of that, people seem to think, oh, that's the only thing the game has to offer, right? Like, oh, all I ever see is just screenshots and videos of upskirts of her. And I'm just like, it's unfortunate because the actual game is very good. So if people would ignore that and just assume that, oh, the only positive about this game is the character design, and they would actually give the game a try, they would see that it's a really good game beyond, the sexual appeal of the character. And so it's just like, there's always those two extremes. And it's just like, and it's upsetting that the only really trending part of Stellar Blade online is when it's like, sexualized shots or videos of her. And it's just like, damn, can y'all make some gameplay videos? can y'all post that?
I mean,
can y'all post the boss fights? Because those are fucking. Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. But it's just like other people. I'm just like, the boss fights are epic. Her move set is awesome. Her blade ability and everything that you can do with it is just fantastic. Post that, and you would get people to play it, right? And they say, oh, if character design is great, people will flock to it. And it's just like, okay, so y'all were so happy about this, but then it only sold like 1 million. So it's just like, what do y'all want? Yep. Like it, and that's a whole other discussion. But Stellar Blade's amazing. If you haven't gotten the chance to try it, I'm sure that let me not say I'm sure, but the demo's probably still up. I don't know if they ever took it down. So if you're on the fence, the demo's there and it does a great job of giving you,
I think it's no longer there. You have to get the what?
Let me check.
No, I did check it.
Oh damn. Okay.
That's weird. They shouldn't have.
That's very unfortunate.
Still, but,
they removed the demo. That's crazy.
That's very unfortunate. But you know what? Forget it. You take my word. You don't need the demo, okay? Take my word. If you like an action adventure game with just like a sprinkle of Souls-like, that little bit of difficulty mixed into there, I think Stellar Blade would be a great get for you. And as someone who doesn't even like Souls games, okay,
Same.
I enjoyed Stellar Blade. Okay, so I would recommend it personally. You know, I'm sure it's been on sale now. Black Friday's passed. Holidays are here. I'm sure it's probably
Nope,
half
it
off or
never
something.
went to sale. But I will say, if you have
Omar,
PS
I'm not
Plus,
talking about on PlayStation. There are physical
okay.
sales,
If
sir.
you have
Okay.
PS Plus, you can try it for free. I mean, yeah, for free.
What?
If you have PS Plus, you can try it for 2 hours.
Oh, you're talking about the trial. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but
Well, you can do
basically,
that.
They removed the demo and replaced it with the trial, which is stupid in my opinion.
But yeah. Try out Stellar Blade if you haven't. Great game. Great team. I can't wait to see what else they do. They're supposedly thinking about making a sequel, or maybe they'll do something else. So I'll be keeping my eye out on that team because they definitely won me with Stellar Blade.
Yeah, they've been visiting all the
We need a
PlayStation studios.
conclusion to the ending.
As they should. As they should.
We
You
need
know,
a
people get
conclusion to
mad.
the ending. Because that shit was confusing as fuck.
Wait, what?
I'm talking about the ending.
We are
need
not
a
going to discuss the
conclusion.
ending on this show,
The
sir,
ending was confusing.
Okay, we're gonna talk about that.
because I don't want you spoiling stuff for people who haven't played it.
Okay. Don't listen to Omar. There was nothing confusing about the ending. This is probably
Oh.
just an Omar thing.
Okay.
Yeah, Omer is confused easily.
All right. So my other game, probably, let's see. Crap. I'm trying to keep up because, you know, I played a lot of games that didn't come out in 2024. So, my other top game would probably be. Hold on, I'm trying to look in the games that I've played. Oh crap! Oh, obviously, Metaphor Refantasia. You know, I was looking forward to that, to this game, and yes, it is absolutely fantastic. Metaphor Refantasia. I have to go back. I'm like literally so close to the end, but as you guys know, I get easily distracted. So I'm like a child when something shiny is on the floor. I just, you know, immediately lose track of what the hell I was doing and go play with that shiny thing. But yeah, Metaphor Refantasio, fantastic showing for Atlas. You know, they've been absolutely killing it. Sega entirely has been, because, you know, they got Atlas, RGG, you know, their studios are just killing it in the game right now. And they got even more next year, especially. I was like, this year is probably a big showing for Atlas, but it's like next year is gonna be like RGG. Like, it's, you got so many Yakuzas coming out, and then they have that other spinoff, the project that they don't have the name for yet. That looks great. That Sleeping
Project
Dogs-esque
Sensory,
looking
yeah.
game.
The sleeping
looks-
dog one. I know.
Yeah, that one looks oof. And they got that fighting game that they're bringing back, Virtual Fighter, is it? And yeah, it's they got a lot going on.
Yeah.
But Sega's yeah, I'm loving to see Sega's resurgence. You know, right now they're absolutely killing it as a publisher right now. But also another Atlas game, Persona 3 Reload. Great game, great remake. Also need to go back and finish that too. I think I have like 80, 90 hours in there.
Yeah, I was gonna say you
And
had a lot.
And I'm almost close to the end with that game too. But I think something else came out, and that's why I got
Something
distracted.
else came out, and you were just
Something
like,
else came out. Man, 2024, man, was insane. It's
2024 ain't about to give you no. 2025 ain't about to give you no.
2025
breaks.
is gonna be worse.
So I mean,
yeah. So the fifth game, I'm like stuck.
So is that was your?
Persona it was
3
Astro,
Reload.
Stellar, Metaphor, Persona.
Okay.
Persona 3 Reload. So I have one more. Shit. I'm stuck between like Kinetsugami, because I really enjoy Kinetsugami.
Kinetsugami was fire.
Yeah, I'm glad
I pushed on that game to beat it, because it's very satisfying.
It was definitely giving me those early PS3 vibes, you know, that I kind of missed. I didn't know I missed, and it definitely scratched that itch for me.
Yeah.
It's like between that, Prince of Persia was also great. Oh my god, I don't.
Yeah.
There's so many good games.
And Bloomtown.
And Bloomtown.
And Nobody Wants to Die.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I really liked Harold Halibut too.
Oh yeah, you did like Harold
Um,
Halibut, yeah.
yeah.
The amount of games
I
that came out that
could
you
technically say
kept-
Pentiment because that released 2024 for PlayStation.
Nah,
Technically, you could.
you're being extra with this one, but I will allow it.
Nah, you put Dave the Diver, even though that came out before, sir. I didn't judge you for that.
Fair.
Um, I'll say Bloomtown because Bloomtown was a little surprised that I wasn't expecting, so I'll put that as my fifth.
Bloomtown.
A different story. Yeah, it's basically a pixelized Persona 5 game, and it is great. Really enjoyed it. Unfortunately, like I wanted to plat it, but it's one of those games where once you get to the end, you know how sometimes when you get to the end game, you can kind of go back and get stuff that you missed. Well, with this one, when the game ends, it ends, and so I didn't know it was going to be one of those situations. So I would literally just have to start over, and there's not multiple save files for this game, which is kind of weird since you're kind of copying the JRPG formula. The one thing that JRPGs have above everybody else is multiple save files, and there wasn't in this game. It's like everything, once you did something, once you saved, it overrided your last save. So yeah, so I would have to literally go back and replay it, and I don't think there's a new game plus, so I'd start from the bottom working up.
Hero said, can you describe Kunitsugami?
Kunitsugami, can I describe it? Yes, that's another thing. I don't know. Y'all, Weber, Omar can check to see if the demo's still up for Kunitsugami. Yeah, but the question is it still there?
Up right now.
Kunitsugami is essentially you are a protector of a goddess. There is these demons that have come to these villages on a mountain, and they have essentially sent out, covered these villages in darkness and sent out demons. And so the people are like praying to the goddess to come and, relieve them of these demons. And you are the protector of the goddess. So essentially for each level, because, there's different villages. So each village is like a different level. So for each level, you have to protect the goddess as she clears the darkness from that particular area. And so it's it's a strategy type of game. You basically have to set up your warriors before the game starts. So it starts when the sun sets. That's when the enemies come out. So before the sun sets, you set up the field. So you'll have archers, you'll have people with spears, you'll have like big sumo characters. You'll have obviously the people with swords. So you have to set up your field based on what it looks like. So if you have maybe, so if the area is has like mountains or hills on it, you want to put archers up there to protect the top. You gonna put a couple of the melee warriors around the goddess to keep her safe, because the game ends if she dies, right? So your job is to protect her until the sun comes back up, right? So you use your different warriors, right? And you only have a certain amount of points per level that you can use. So you'll only be able to use maybe two, or you'll only be able to use maybe like 6 warriors for this level or 8 warriors. You have to be a strategy. You have to pick which warriors to use correctly. So if you want to go all melee, like all swords, that's what you can do. If you want to do 2 archers, maybe a couple spears, a couple with swords, it depends on the enemy type, and it depends on the way the terrain is set up, right? You have to use the terrain to your advantage. So like I said, if you have hills in the terrain, you can set up a couple archers there to keep the enemies away from her. So that's the point. The point is you have to get from the start of the village to the end. So she walks in like a line. It's not necessarily straight, but she goes from one point to the end point, and she's like slowly walking and clearing the area until the sun comes back up. So your objective is to keep her safe until then. And there's a lot of enemies that come at you. There's different types. There's flying enemies, there's big enemies, there's small, there's faster, there's stronger. So you want to pick the best warriors for that level to protect her until she gets to the end, right? And that's what you're doing for all the maps. And there's different maps and different terrains and stuff. And there's one where you're on like a boat sailing from one side of the river to the other, and there's enemies, floating towards you, flying towards you, and you're protecting her. Like, it's really good. And that's what you're doing for all the levels, right? And you're going from the top of the mountain to the bottom, clearing up all these villages to get rid of these demons. So that's what essentially Kinetsugami is. If I left anything out, Innate, that you wanted to add, or
easiest way for me to describe Kunitsugami, besides everything you did a great job describing it. Easiest way for me to explain it is if you played Onimusha before. It is a isometric tower defense Onimusha with people who can help you and turn into different villagers and basically help you fight against the demons, as opposed to the way you fight alone.
I've never played Onimusha before, so this was like a new experience to me. I tried it out in the demo and I really liked it. And so essentially it's the villagers of that village that you turn into your warriors. The goddess like blesses them. Say there's 5 villagers in this particular village, then you can turn them based on, you collect, like, I don't know what the collection things are called. They're like little bubbles or something. Yeah, there's some kind of balls or like some golden whatever. And so and based on that, each different type, let's say you want the spear, he'll be 9 of those balls. That's how much it costs to turn a villager into a spear guy. And so you have to have enough of these collectibles to turn the villagers into these warriors, right? Each warrior type costs a different amount. So during this gameplay, you have to make sure you're collecting these things, because there's a time limit. When you get into the village, you have like 5 minutes to set up everything. So you got 5 minutes to get the little collectibles in the area and then turn the villagers into the different warrior types, right? The archers, the whatever. Because because it starts whether you're ready or not, right?
Absolutely.
There's a countdown. And it's almost nerve-wracking because the music paces up. You can feel the tension in the air. It's like, and as soon as like the sun goes down, shit gets wild. So you're like, oh crap, I'm not ready. And so you're trying to hurry up and turn the villagers into like archers or spearmen or people with swords. And you're trying to hurry up because as soon as the sun goes down, them demons are coming out of the portals and they are going straight towards her. So you got to make sure you got everybody set up and in time, because it starts so quick. And sometimes you think, okay, I got to the end, it's over, but it's a 2-part level. So you'll get to the end, but then there's another part and you don't have time to reset. So you only have that 30 seconds to start, and you're like, oh crap, I need more time. But no, it's fast paced. It can get hard. Like
it gets real tough.
It gets real tough. Like the last couple levels get so hard. Like I'm just like, oh crap, I don't have time to. I'm trying to set up. I'm trying to. They're coming at her. I'm trying to get the warriors ready, and I don't have time. It's definitely challenging, but it's really good. And it's unfortunate because I think Capcom came out and said it underperformed for them. It's a shame.
Because you need game.
It was on Game Pass.
Also, it's online only. Digital only. And also the demo is still up. So
okay. Well, the demo is there if you would like to try it. I suggest trying it. It's really good.
That's the best way to get it. But yeah, just know that in the demo you're only scratching the surface, because part of the thing that makes it incredible is the amount of depth that game has. Like the skill tree is extensive, and that extends to you as well as your upgrading your villagers. So you can become like your character also fights and protects the goddess too. So you can make them stronger. You can give them a bow and arrow, because I think you just start out with a sword. And I love the fluidity of their combat.
It almost looks like a dance. The way your character
does.
moves and fights, they move like they're dancing. Like it's just like this beautiful sword play. And it's really good. Like it can be very overwhelming with all the enemies coming at you on screen and you trying to protect, and that's why it's a lot of strategy involved, because putting just melee warriors around her is not going to be enough, right? Because you're going to have flying enemy types, you're going to have heavy enemy types, and they're not going to be strong enough to just fight them, and they the enemies are going to come at them. So maybe you want to get archers who will be safe up top that can shoot down, or you want to get spear guys who can put a couple some distance between themselves and the enemy, or you want the big sumo guy who can he like jumps, and then the people the enemies in his immediate radius fall down so that the melee warriors can hit them, right? So you have to strategize to pick the best warriors for the terrain and enemy types that you're fighting, right? And so like I've died a lot in levels because based on the warrior type that I picked, like, oh man, I should have had a couple more archers, or oh, I should have focused more on the spearmen, or I should have had like a big sumo guy to kind of distract, because the sumo wrestler, he also distracts enemies. Like they'll come towards him, so you can put him away from the goddess, and the enemies will flood in his direction and keep them away from her. So it's all about strategy and picking the right warriors for each level, if that makes sense.
Also, another thing, watch out. The game starts slow, but it picks up quick.
Yeah, so I say, it starts off good. You're like, oh man, I got it, man. This is easy. And then you start getting closer to the bottom of that mountain, and it starts picking up, and you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You can't just, finesse it the way you might have been the earlier levels. You have to really think like, okay, I need exactly 2 archers. I need 1 spearman. I need a sumo guy, and he has to be over there. I need 2 warriors around her specifically, and then I'm going to stand back and keep them off of them, because they come at her from different directions. So there's different paths they can take. So they will come at her from the front, from the side, from the back. So there's the portals that these demons are coming out of. Sometimes there's just one portal, and sometimes there are several portals they're coming out of from all different directions. So you have to pay attention and put warriors in specific places to keep them in check. So
and you can surprise her. Huh? You
Yeah.
can think you're taking it good, you're doing well, and all of a sudden they're in your base. You're like, how? How did I not see them?
And there's
Exactly.
also environmental protections there too. Like you can get later in the middle of the game, there's like a carpenter guy that kind of shows up, and you can have him fix these like these little like tennis nets, and they trap the demons that are coming. Now they don't kill them, but they kind of stall them for a little while, right? And if the demons keep piling up on the net will break, and they'll come through. But they kind of stop the demons for a little bit so that your warriors can kill them before they get to the princess. So there's like environmental traps that you can set up that'll help, but you have to make sure that you're killing the demons, because if not, they'll tear through the net and the other type of defenses that you can make, and overwhelm you. So you have to make sure you're keeping warriors on them so that they're not breaking down the traps that you set up. So I mean, there's a lot that goes into the game, and it's really good. It sounds kind of straightforward, but there's a lot of strategy involved with it, and it can definitely get hard at the end levels. So you have to pay attention to what you're doing.
Agreed. And then what was your? I mean, I don't know if you're still gonna go with Hellblade 2, but I'm assuming you are.
Hellblade 2.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep it short because I've been talking a lot, but Hellblade 2 most definitely.
Most disappointing game.
Yeah, and I'm not, like we've said, I'm not saying because it's bad necessarily. It's because I've been I absolutely adored Hellblade 1, and ever since they announced Hellblade 2 in like 2018 or 2020 with the announcement, it was 2020 I think, or 2019. With the announcement of the Series X, it was announced that they're going to do a Hellblade 2. And I was so excited. I was like, oh my gosh, we're getting another one? Oh, okay. I mean, I wasn't expecting it, but I was, I'll take it, right? And then, listening to Ninja Theory and, what they were doing and talking about when it comes to improving Hellblade 2, they were talking about how, they invested in like more combat developers to improve on the combat of the game, and they were really like, they were showing the mocap of the I forgot the actress name who plays Senua. They were showing her behind the scenes in the mocap doing combat stuff, and they were really focusing on that now. And it was a bigger and better project. And then I was like, okay, this sounds awesome. Like we're going even more. We're gonna have a more thought out combat. And it's gonna be more flushed, and it's gonna be more just more, right? And I was excited. Yeah, I was excited about it. And it's just then like I think the year it was coming out, they were talking about how, oh well, it's the same length as the first one, and oh well, it's it's not as expansive as this. And I'm just like, wait, hold up. Y'all been out here taking flights to Iceland and all this stuff and doing this and that, and I'm just like, I didn't expect it to, like we've said, I wasn't expecting it to be on like the level of like a God of War or something, but I was expecting it to be just a little bit more, as long as they've been taking, and as much as they were talking about the improvements they were making towards the game. And like I said, I walked away, I gave it an 8. Like it was good, but it wasn't what I expected. I expected more because of what they promised, and then what was delivered was not the same, right? And so I was just left disappointed. It was a beautiful game. I'm not going to take away from what Ninja Theory did, the technical level that they went with this game. It was the mocap, the facial features, the use of Unreal Engine 5 and the lighting of this game. It was phenomenal. Like I was stopping a lot and just like looking at the area, taking pictures and stuff, because it was just beautiful, right? And I love the audio design of the game too. Like they've always been good with that, with the voices. I'd hear it in one ear, and then it'd like move over to my other ear, and the audio design was always great. But it just felt like, while that was a step forward, it felt like everything else was kind of a step back. Like, okay, we're kind of just doing what we did in the first, but not really improving on anything, and taking it a step further. So I was just left like, well, it was good, but we waited like 5 years for this, and it just didn't meet the expectations that they set. Yeah, and I don't know what it did exactly for Ninja Theory. Like that's one of the few games that Ninja Theory nor Xbox have said what it did. Like they don't ever really say sales, but they do say like, oh, we got 3 million players, we got 5 million players, we got 12 million players. They never said anything about how many players they had for Hellblade 2. So I'm starting to think they didn't meet any type of metrics for Hellblade 2. And I hope it doesn't do anything.
Game Pass.
You said what?
Not even in Game Pass did they mention.
That's what I'm talking about, like player count. So I was like, they never said anything. So I'm just like, okay, well, I hope it did okay. I don't think it's gonna go the way of Tango Gameworks, simply because they have Ninja Theory helping out with like other studios and stuff. But it's just like, it's kind of sad because Hellblade 1 on PlayStation did an amazing job for their studio. That's how they kept the studio up, is because of the success that how good the game sold on PS4. And now, like, according to like Xbox insiders, they're regretting not launching this game simultaneously on PlayStation. And I was like, well, they probably should have,
Nope.
I think it probably would have done maybe a slightly better, just because of that association that the first game had with PlayStation, and they have a lot of fans on PlayStation. But I played it regardless. Like I said, this isn't me port begging or anything. Like I've already played the game, and I've 100% of the game on Xbox. So if it does come to PlayStation, I'll support it. I'll buy it again, and I'll platinum it on PlayStation. But yeah, that was just, it was sad, because I was just like, damn, this is not what I wanted. This is not what I expected. But shout out to the voice actress for her award in the Game of the Year awards for, what was it, best performance or whatever. She always does a good job on Senua, so I can't be mad at it. But hopefully Ninja Theory, whatever their next project is, hopefully it's a little bit more ambitious. and they're able to I don't know, recoup from Hellblade 2. So we'll see.
Not gonna lie, I don't want to hear them talk. I want to see. I want to see in final product because they overpromise and underdeliver.
Yeah, agreed. Well, that was the last person for our picks. If just to remind everyone, there we go. So for anybody that showed up late, just for the rundown for everyone that was there. So Karaba's picks are Animal Well, Astrobot, Prince of Persia, Helldivers 2, and Dave the Diver. Worse, his biggest disappointment of the year was Plucky Squire. Morgan's is Astrobot, Stellar Blade, Metaphor Refantasio, Persona 3 Reload, and Bloomtown. Her biggest disappointment of the year was Hellblade 2. Weeb's picks are Astrobot, Infinite Wealth, Zelda, Dragon Age Veilguard, and East 10. And his most disappointing game of the year was also Hellblade 2. My picks, Metaphor Refantasio, Black Myth Wukong, Unicorn Overlord, Stellar Blade, Persona 3 Reload, and biggest disappointment of the year, Dragon's Dogma 2. But yeah, that's just a rundown. So we'll probably do the poll later, because I realized that Omar would have to put the poll up, and I don't know if Omar can manage that.
If we remove you, the uncultured one, what's the most in common is Astrobot for Goatee.
Yeah. Astrobot was good, but I'm a RPG gamer, sir. It is what it is.
I think the main takeaway that we should take from this is PlayStation had a great 2024, no matter what people said that it wasn't. And that, if you look at the Game of the Year awards, and if you look at the nominees for Game of the Year, there's only one platform for which you can play every single Game of the Year nominee, and that's PlayStation 5. You can't do it on Switch, you can't do it on Xbox, and you can't do it on PC. If you want to play everything on one platform, you have to get a PS5, and that's that's honestly the cherry on top for people who say PlayStation 5 has no games, or they're lacking in the game department. They're doing very well, and they have all of the top games. You can play them all on PlayStation. So there you go.
Absolutely.
I love how nobody mentioned FF7 Rebirth.
Listen.
Nope.
7 Rebirth. That was I'm never gonna crap on PlayStation for securing the Final Fantasy 7 remakes that they're doing. I mean, I think that was a good get. And it's a big get. It's a very popular IP. It's just not for me. I didn't care for remake. I thought Rebirth was better, but it's still a lot. And it's just not enthralling me, specifically. But it's got a lot of fans though, so I can't. It's well loved and well received, so I can't knock other people for liking the game. And now supposedly they're talking about how the sales for Rebirth, Square Enix is saying the sales for Rebirth were good, but Square being Square, they want better, and so they're like, we have to expand our sales. And I'm just like, I don't know. I was like, is it the platforms that are the problem, or is it just the game? Because it's like,
nah, it's genuinely just Square.
I think Square has over expectations when it comes to Final Fantasy, especially one that was as beloved as 7, and they expect it to go bananas because it's 7, and everybody loves 7, so obviously this is supposed to equal millions upon millions of sales, right? And so they feel some type of way that it's not doing that, but at the same time, it's like there's a lot of criticisms when it comes to remake and Rebirth, they're good, but it just feels like they're doing too much, and they can condense it just a teeny bit. Like there's a lot going on, and a lot of people are feeling like it's not capturing the same kind of magic that the original 7 had. And it's just, I don't know. I mean, I can't really speak on it much because I didn't play the original 7, but I don't know. I just think Square just they do this with all their IPs. They have way too high expectations for what they think people want. And then you have Final Fantasy 16, and I think they obviously thought, because they stated that they thought that going in an action kind of direction would be the thing that would give them, widespread acclaim. Like if we do this is the thing that'll get like the casual audience to play. Like they don't like turn based, so we'll make this an action based game, and we'll get people to come over. But as we've seen with games like Persona and games like Yakuza, you know what I'm saying? Like there are plenty of action games that or with Yakuza's, or like Yakuza's actually in the turn based, or with Persona games that kind of just put that resurgence on turn based again, and you see it doing well. Like you don't need to switch up what you're good at to gain or garner an audience. You just have to you have to tweak it and make it something that you have to put your all into it, and make it something that people want to play. And Square, for whatever reason, doesn't seem to understand that. And maybe they learned that lesson with 16, but knowing Square, they probably didn't. So who knows?
They will never, because this problem, so far I remember literally being during, Tomb Raider. When Tomb Raider sold and they said it didn't sell well enough from there.
Yeah, they're never going to learn at this rate.
Look at the, the excitement people had with that Claire Obscure game, right? Expedition 33, turn-based. And everybody was like, oh my God, like how good, Yakuza Like a Dragon's turn-based had everybody like, yo, this is amazing. This is hilarious. Like, we love this, right? And it's just like, I don't understand this thought process that, obviously there are people who don't like turn-based, and that's fine. But there are plenty of people who do, but they want a great turn-based game, right? And Square, again, they on this path that we just have to follow what everybody else is doing, and we'll get the success we're looking for. And that's why they're not finding it, because they're not doing what they're known for and honing that craft. They're just trying to copy what everybody else is doing. But yeah, that's a discussion for another day.
They have the name Final Fantasy, so they assume everyone is gonna.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Them.
They think that they are like, they deserve to be kind of like the rock star of the West.
Yeah.
And it's like they're feeling some type of way that they're not getting that. And I'm like, it has nothing to do with you being exclusive to PlayStation. It's just you, having over expectations for your games that, aren't worthy of those type of sales necessarily.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's part of kind of our segue into the other part of our discussion here for the end of the year, which is, of course, the state of gaming in 2024 going into 2025. But yeah, like you guys said, a big thing Square definitely needs to learn to stick to their strengths and work on enhancing your strengths and not necessarily just jumping to the next thing. And this isn't new, right? I told somebody at one point, one of their really famous tactical turn-based franchises, they tried to make an action third-person shooter game because at the time that's what was hot. And the game did so bad that most people don't even remember it existed. And it's just like, Square is just really famous for trying to chase trends. And it's like, they need to realize when they were the company that they used to be, they were trend setting. And it's like, that's what you need to do. You need to trend set in your own area and your strengths. And, do things like Parasite Eve again. Create these unique turn-based experiences that, nobody else does. The same way that they came out with HD, one of your favorite things, especially when done really well, Morgan, HD 2D.
And it's like, because then did they get rid of the developer that made Octopath Traveler?
So they didn't get rid of them. They got bought. So part of the team that does it acquired. They got bought by a. They got bought by Nintendo or something like that.
That's the thing, though. They couldn't have gotten bought if they weren't up for sale.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm like, you all did such an amazing job with Octopath Traveler 2. Okay.
They did.
If y'all know me, okay, I've talked about this game to the point of nauseum. So I apologize if you are tired of hearing me talk about Octopath Traveler 2. But Octopath Traveler 2 was fan-freaking-tastic. Okay. It was my game of the year 2023. I platinumed it. It was amazing. And it like, I think it sold like 2 million, I think they said, or something like that. I can't remember. I mean, obviously it's not on any kind of Final Fantasy number, but it's much smaller projects in comparison, right? These are like 2D, more of a AA style games.
Both combined sold 3 million or something. Or 6 or 7, I think. Not too long ago, we got.
Yeah, we got an update. I can't remember what that number said though. I gotta look that up. But an amazing game, right? You can tell the creativity, the like just the passion that went into that project. You can just tell that this was a game that a lot of love was put into it, right? The characters, the writing, the turn-based, like the world design, like the art style of this game, fan-fucking-tastic. Okay, loved it. Like I took so many screenshots from this game because it's just a beautiful game, and it literally checked off everything on my list of almost a perfect game, essentially. And part of it got sold off to Nintendo, but that's not like an end of the world thing, because Nintendo was the one to kind of fund Octopath 1, so that doesn't necessarily mean we're not going to get a 3. So it could happen. The question is, would it come to other platforms? Who knows?
Yeah.
So, but it's just sad that instead of capturing what Octopath Traveler 2 did, that magic in a bottle, and putting that into a AAA kind of game, and that the fact that never really crossed their mind.
It didn't occur
because
to them.
the only things that Square pays attention to is the numbers, right? They don't necessarily pay attention to like reception and praise and accolades and stuff. No, like most big publishers, they only focus on the numbers, and because it didn't reach the metrics that I'm sure the high ass metrics that they probably have for this game unnecessarily, they probably didn't care, right? But if they could capture that and put that into a AAA game, Square would be running shit. I'm telling you, like if they were, they would, like, because right now, as far as JRPGs go, like Sega has it for me. Like they're the ones killing it for me right now, and it's just Square is like low on the list. Like Octopath Traveler 2 is the only thing that they have that puts them in any type of list for me, because it's just like I enjoyed Final Fantasy 16. I platinumed it, but it was okay. Like it wasn't groundbreaking or anything like that. I enjoyed Ben Starr's performance. I thought he was really good. I think he captured Clive very well. But as far as like a game in total, it was cool. It was just like, like I said, it was Game of Thrones. So, obviously that's a very good story, at least into the last season. So when you copy that formula, you're going to do pretty good. So yeah, but I don't know. It's just, can Square ever get to the point they were in like the PS2 days, PS1, PS2? I don't know. If they keep up the same strategy, I don't think so.
Yeah,
like, I think they're getting to a point where they're going to be bought out by somebody.
Yeah, if they keep chasing, they're not going to be able to get ahead. Like I don't I don't know how they don't understand that concept. A company based in Japan where, a place full of wise old sayings, you're never going to get ahead chasing somebody else. Like that's just never going to work. And they need to learn that, right? Like Hero mentioned in the chat, He avoided the recent Yakuza games because of the turn based, because he's not really a big fan of turn based. But he also then says in the same breath that he pre-ordered Clair Obscur Expedition 33, and that's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of innovation in the genre, that Square used to be known for, right? Pushing the turn-based, to the next level, and it's taking people who were inspired by them to push the envelope further, right? And now you've got a lot of people, like you said, who are not turn-based fans excited for Expedition 33. Like that trailer and every subsequent trailer they've put out has done numbers.
Fire. Art style, the camera angles, when they switch it from the different angles where you see the player and then you look at the zoom in on the enemy, and then they're doing a little action combat and then bouncing back into turn-based. Like, imagine if that was like Final Fantasy 17.
Exactly.
Like, oh, shit, Square's back. Square's back, baby.
The last Legend of Dragon remake.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm going there.
But it's just like people. I think people would have a higher outlet. They're like, "Oh my God, Square back!" Like,
exactly.
And again, I don't know if Square pays attention to reception on the internet or Twitter or just at all. But you would think with these last few years of this, JRPG turn-based renaissance that we've been seeing, that they would be like, maybe people do like turn-based. Okay, well, maybe we should kind of make some turn. Like, I don't know why they're not seeing that, and why they're not seeing that a lot of turn-based games are thriving at the moment, and people are absolutely enjoying themselves with it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they're just looking at like, okay, the main kind of games that are thriving, I guess, are like live service games, and those are action-based games. So maybe we should focus on action because that's what the West likes, and we got to appeal to the West, even though we kind of cut our Western division.
But it's like the games they're chasing with this action vibe. It's like they don't make those kind of games, and it's like I don't get how they can't see that. Like, they're chasing the Elden Rings, the Black Myth Wukongs, the Cyberpunks, the 20 million sellers, and it's like those games have a series of fortunate events that led them to what they are, and it's like Square. It's not that like those numbers are unheard of for them, right? Like the last big seller for Final Fantasy was Final Fantasy 15, which went on to sell over like 15 million copies, right? But the problem with that one was, right, it left such a sour taste in so many people's mouths that the series ultimately dropped down to like, a 3 to 4 million, maybe 5 million long-term seller instead of 10 to 15 million.
When did 15 come out? When did what year? Do you
It's
remember?
a whole different story with how it used to be certain verses, and like 15 been development for years.
It was 2016. That's when it came out.
Okay. Yeah, that's a lot of years for people to wait for another Final Fantasy.
I mean, we
'Cause
literally
that-
changed from 13 verses to 15.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a completely different game. Yeah.
A completely different,
We saw how we saw they showed up gameplay from that one trailer with Leviathan and stuff like that, and almost felt like Kingdom Hearts gameplay, and they took that also out of the game. Like 15 went through an entire kind of worm on its own.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, like it's got its own thing going, right? But it was both the height of sales and the downfall of sales for the continuation of the series, right? Because they tried to change up so much stuff. That was one of the big ones where they tried to make a very drastic change. And a lot of people
And I
weren't
think
vibing with it.
waiting 9 years to make the sequel too. You
Yeah.
know, because that's a big from 2016 to 2023 for Final
Yeah.
Fantasy 16,
Yep.
and then it's action based Final Fantasy Game of Thrones, and some people are like, wait, we waited.
Yeah, they went even more action and less RPG. And like I said, I've told people, I'm like, look, nothing wrong. Again, like I said, I've got the platinum. Like, I didn't hate it, right? But you honestly could have just called Final Fantasy 16 something else, and I would have just believed you. Like outside of chocobos and a few things that were in the game, you know, a tonberry, like things that are very Final Fantasy. Like, you could have changed a couple of those things, named it something else. The chocobos could have been freaking horses, and you could have called you could have called this like journey, you know, journey to the east or something. Like, I don't know, but it's something else, and it could have been not Final Fantasy, and I would be like, oh, they came out with a new franchise.
They didn't have the Final Fantasy blueprint, if that makes sense. To me, it felt lackluster. And lackluster, like, it's a good action game. It's a terrible.
It's like I enjoy the boss. No, I'm sorry. I enjoyed the boss scenes, right? Like you're climbing up the side of that boss's arm and stuff. Like, those were epic.
Titan, I think.
Yeah, the Titans. Yeah, those were epic. But I mean, you know, obviously that's not. There's more to the game than just that. So.
What about the story? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, of course. It was a game. It was like Clive was essentially Jon Snow. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean that can pay. If you guys haven't seen it, you guys should look up the Final Fantasy on YouTube. So Final Fantasy 16 is Game of Thrones, and I think IGN did the video. It was hilarious. I
was like, I told you. So it's just like, he's literally Jon Snow, the son that got rejected, and now he's trying to prove himself and blah 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 blah. Like, you know, it's not an original story. It's not a bad story. Obviously, I love Game of Thrones, but I was just like, yeah, I've seen this before. You know, he was very Jon Snow-esque, very kind of the selfless hero type. So, yeah.
I think if Square takes anything from the current landscape, they want to really see what's what. It's like they should see they're still uniquely in a position to push the boundary of what they're capable of in the turn-based field. They just gotta want it bad enough.
Anymore, right?
You said what?
It feels like they lost their identity.
They have new leadership now, don't they?
Yeah, they do. But I mean, he's also been there for he's been there for a little bit, and he was also part of the responsible team that greenlit Foam Stars. So let that sink in.
I'm genuinely curious now how Kingdom Hearts 4 is gonna be.
I mean, I don't know.
You might as well just give up on Kingdom Hearts 4.
Yeah, as far as I know, Kingdom Hearts fans hated Kingdom Hearts 3, so I wouldn't hope too hard for that.
I love 2.
They switched it from Unreal 4 to 5, I think, right? Like, I think that's why it's kind of taken so long. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. They just need to get it together. I hope they do. They if anything, take a page out of Capcom's book, right? Capcom is finally listening to their fans, begging for all these games, and they're bringing them back.
They said they're gonna start bringing back some of the older IPs. I was gonna weep, like, oh man, you might get your Dino Crisis weep.
I mean,
yeah.
every old IP under the sun. If it's not Dino Crisis, I don't know what can they bring.
Yeah, I mean they pretty much brought back everything but Dino Crisis.
I swear, when it comes to publishers,
Dino Crisis, no question.
It's like the more when it comes to these publishers, the more you want an IP, the more they're just like flipping you off with the middle finger. Because it's like PlayStation fans or Souls fans want Bloodborne back so fast, and PlayStation's remastering and remaking every damn game but that one.
But that game.
And then you got people being like, "Yo, Dino Crisis," and then they're releasing like Ark or something, and they're like, "That's not." Or that other little Dino game. It's like, that's not what we asked for, bro. We wanted Dino Crisis. Yeah, I swear, man. It's like, yeah, you want it, or we're not doing it. I don't know. Yeah, I saw Herman recent statement, I think this week or earlier, that he's looking to bring back. PlayStation has like a lot of legacy IP, and he's looking to bring some back. And I was just like, are you there? What is your definition?
That's a corporate answer.
I was like, what is your definition of legacy IP? Are you talking about like remastering Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart? Is that what you're talking about?
All I'm saying is just be careful what you bring back, because like I said, people make a lot of noise about certain franchises that I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't think are gonna do good commercially, like Siphon Filter.
So a
people
good
beg
thing to release is, to me, in my opinion, no bias, legit, is Legend of Dragoon. But here is why. Because it's what you call it, the PS5 PS Plus version is selling well. Another one would be not Pyro. What's that? Sly Cooper.
Oh my god!
Listen.
I knew he was going to say that.
I knew you were going to sneak that in there. I knew you was.
Apparently it's also selling well. So to me,
selling well as in selling how many, Omar?
I'm gonna look up the numbers then.
I'm gonna let you know right now. If they ain't nobody buying no damn Sly Cooper, bro.
How do you know?
Because I know, Omar,
don't see that doing numbers.
Because people on this app talk all day about how they want, so I'll bring this back, and as soon as they bring back like a remake or a remaster to kind of vibe how people want it, nobody supports it.
Yeah, so the thing you got to keep in mind with remakes is that if there is no new blood wanting it, then you don't need to bring it back.
So here it is. Sly Cooper PS2 is PlayStation Plus Premium biggest hit so far. Data tracker Game Insight found that Sly Cooper beat The Legend of Dragoon with a 2.5 higher player count at launch.
Player count and sales are two different things, Omar.
I mean, yeah.
So people playing it on their PS Plus is not the same as people buying it.
Yeah, I'm looking at like sales potential. So that's why I say, like, I think it was brilliant for them to bring back Onimusha. Like you said, there's a lot of people who never got to play it. Priscilla never got to play it. Morgan never got to play it. Like, I think that game screams current generation can do some crazy stuff. Same thing. I mean, like I said, you got to be careful of the IPs you bring back. They've got to be able to do something currently, right? And do it successfully. And that's what I said. Square
revitalize Sly Cooper's gameplay, because when I tried playing Sly Cooper back on, like, when it was what was the thing called, the PS3 thing, back on PS4, PS Now,
yeah,
right, that the gameplay was trash. I was like, damn, was this gameplay always this bad, or is it just? It's like, no, just with time, game mechanics change, and the gameplay was, I couldn't even get through the first level. I was like, bro, this sucks. Like, this gameplay is just, it's sloggy. It's just not fluid. Like, I can't get him to do what I need. Like, he keeps jumping off the side. Like, I can't. They would have to just completely revamp it and do something different. Like, it can't just be like, oh, this is an exact thing, but he's fighting a different animal creature this time. Like, It has to be like revamp, like a whole new shit, like that. Almost like that Pac-Man that Pac-Man game now that has the Metroidvania looking thing going on, right? That new revamp of it.
Labyrinth something.
yeah, it's like it doesn't have to go to that extreme where it's like a completely different genre or anything, but it's gonna have to do something. Like it's gonna have to be a God of War 2018 kind of switch up or something. Because I don't see it doing. I don't see it doing any better than like a Sackboy or something. And Sackboy didn't do the greatest, so I don't see it doing crazy numbers right now.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. I was like, platformers outside of certain known IPs also don't do really well. It's not just the fact of like me personally not really caring for platformers. It's like platformers just don't really do numbers like that in the current landscape. So my thing is, I know that they're unless you're Nintendo, exactly. Yeah. Like, but motherfuckers will run out in droves and buy a new Mario. Like they might not, probably won't even. The number of people I see advertise that they even finished the last Mario is literally zero, but it doesn't matter because 20 million people bought it. Like that's the kind of numbers they get regardless. So yeah, that's why I say you got to be careful. Stage, I that sounds really dope. My problem is I don't really remember Siphon Filter, and I played it on PS1 back in the day. That's my problem.
Right. C-Fresh is absolutely correct. He said a new Jack and Dexter will flop big time. Absolutely.
There you go.
I want to come back only because I remember one gun you can literally shoot enemies behind behind the wall. Also another, you literally have a taser that tases enemies to oblivion and fry them. Besides that, I can't remember story detail, and I do remember the game being clunky. So if for it to come back, they really need a revamp. 100% they need to revamp it.
Yeah, absolutely. And the question would be who would make it too, because a lot of the developers, the teams that made these, they don't want to anymore.
I would give it to Ben.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't disagree, Sam.
Try on it. Yeah, Ben. Or
Ben.
I want Blue Point to work on an original IP, which they might be working on. But I would give it to Ben.
I mean, Ben is busy as far as we know, so
it's gonna be like,
yeah, they are.
It's gonna be like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
No.
You got to remember, you also can't just give a game to a studio and be like, make that, because a lot of other teams do that outside of PlayStation, and that results in bad or negative feedback. Like you gotta have a team that not only is fit for it but wants to do it.
Yeah, they're passionate. Like, we used to love this game, so we got a cool idea, kind of revamp it. We're gonna bring it back. But if you just try to be like force a team to be like, this is what you're working on now, they're gonna like, why? What for? What do you want us to do? I don't know. Just make another one. Oh, well, we don't really want to, but okay.
Yeah, and I don't disagree. I don't disagree, Sam, that they need some kind of platformers. Not necessarily a ton of them, but I mean, they just put out Astrobot in one game of the year, so
Team Asobi has got us covered.
Yeah, like, Team Asobi's a beast, so I would say keep giving it to them.
Because I already know PlayStation gave them the green light to go ahead. I don't know necessarily if they're working on another Astrobot game. I mean, I would assume so.
I mean, they're working on DLC right now.
Yeah. I mean, but PlayStation is increasing their team, so I'm sure like at some point they'll be able to do multiple projects. I'm sure they don't want to get too big because that's kind of like the atmosphere of the studio. I think that's kind of what they want. They want that kind of smaller, more cohesive team where they can kind of talk the way they do. I think that's how they're able to capture the spirit of Astrobot, because they're all close and they they're working together on something they're passionate about. So I'm sure they don't want to get too big, but this was a quick turnaround for Astrobot, because Playroom, while it's not a full-fledged game, it was still a pretty big pack on inside of PS5, and then they were able to turn around and give a full-fledged game in 4 years, right? And so I don't know, I think they're kind of getting into their groove, and who knows? Maybe we'll see another Astrobot before the end of the gen. I'm not crossing my fingers. I don't expect that, but I'm just saying it could be possible. Who knows? Or maybe they're working on something completely different. Maybe they want to make another platformer, maybe they'll make something else. You know, I'm never, like I said, I don't ever want to put a studio into a box like they can't do anything else. Like I hate when studios do that. Like they're just known for making one thing and they just don't ever try anything different.
Yeah.
And that kind of stifles creativity, and that kind of just leads to the IP just kind of going downhill because you're kind of losing the love for it because that's all you're doing. But you know, I'm down for whatever Team SLB has on the horizon next because they knocked out the park with Astrobot. Like,
Yeah.
it was just, I mean, we all expected it to be great, but I mean, even with that, you know, knowing how much I enjoyed Astro's Playroom, it exceeded my expectations with Astrobot.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
I
Yeah,
wanna say
and
it didn't, but it kind of did.
Oh man,
No, because I love Playroom. Like, I never got Playroom Plus back then. I had one of you, because I was not that much of Trophy Hunter. But I love Playroom. And the second I saw the trailer for Astrobot, I knew that's GOTY material. And it's only a matter of would it win GOTY, and I'm genuinely surprised it won. So shout out to
yeah.
them guys.
I'm just happy PlayStation, you know, gave them the green light and said go ahead, because I'm sure the feedback of everybody enjoying Playroom and them
Oh,
hearing
yeah.
people, they wanted a full-fledged game. I'm sure they went to PlayStation like, hey, can we make a full Astrobot? Like, people asking. You know, PlayStation could have been like, nah, no platformers, bro. We don't want that. But they let them. So, you know, that's awesome. And I'm glad it received the reception it did, because, you know, people, you know, love to say PlayStation, you know, y'all only do one thing, and there's the lack of creativity, and y'all just do sad dad third person, you know, walking simulators, blah 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 blah, which is not true, but you know, that's what people love to say. And you know, I just like seeing that, you know, another type of game for PlayStation got some, you know, accolades, and deservingly so. So, you know, just a good fun game. You know, you ain't got to think about anything. You just having a great time playing as Astrobot and doing, you know, all the little cute gameplay mechanics in different worlds. You know, and the fact that they were able to hit it out the park on like their first, you know, actual, you know, game. You know, like I said, Playroom's kind of like a demo, but their first actual game, they were able to do this well. I think that just bodes well for what the future of Astrobot could be. Like, I really want Astrobot to be like the full-on mascot. Like, Astrobot, like, he incorporates himself into different PlayStation worlds, and he's just there, just doing different stuff. Like, he's in Uncharted, he's going over here to the Last of Us, he's over here on Ghost of Tsushima, you know, he's over here in Horizon, like, you know, even older IPs. Like, I just kind of want him to be, you know, he's just everywhere, you know, all at once.
I mean, my idea was debut new characters via him. For example, Intergalactic. Show us the main character, how it look, how it plays via Astrobot. God of Yote, main character, debuted her in Astrobot. In my opinion, that would be something fresh and new. I never done before.
You are not letting this idea
matter
go.
I just don't think developers would want to do that, just because they want to introduce the character in their games on their own terms. I mean, it's cute. I mean, I think they would put those characters in obviously after the game came out, and if they did some other kind of, you know, we want to put PlayStation characters in the Astrobot kind of thing. But yeah, I don't think developers would be like necessarily want to do that, just because
You don't want your full-on
that kind of
gameplay in
spoils
another
what
game.
they had in plans to introduce their gameplay and the story and stuff like that. So, but I get what you're saying though.
What do you think is next for Asobi then? Do you think, because they created an amazing game?
All right,
but
we could talk about that afterwards, because we got to get to the question.
All I got to say is, I'm not trying to use obviously Mario as like the blueprint, but by example, like Mario has so many different types of games, right? It's not just platformers, right? So my point in saying that is that, you know, Astrobot, if that's what they're kind of sticking with for now, it could be anything next, right? They could, there's just endless potential what they could do with Astrobot. But from what they did with, obviously the Astrobot game, like I said, I'm all for whatever they want to do, whatever their team decides, and I'm sure they had the idea in their head, like before they were done with Astrobot. Probably as they were making Astrobot, they probably thought of some cool stuff that they'd be able to do with Astrobot, and I'm sure they're going over ideas now that the game's done, and they're kind of just doing some DLC and everything, and they're winding down. I'm sure they're in talks about what's next for the team. So like I said, the possibilities are endless. They could make another platformer, or they could turn it into something completely different. So I'm down with whatever they want to do.
All right, we got to get to this last question, and we got to do it quickly because this whole remake thing took forever. So we're supposed to be discussing the state of gaming.
Sir, you left. What we supposed to do?
I was talking, but I muted myself.
Okay. Okay. So that's you. Okay.
Priscilla started downloading the game again, and it was messing up.
Okay.
Anyway, so Jesus, we need to, going into 2024 or 2025 from 2024. Like I said, we discussed all that stuff. I do agree with what Priscilla said. Resistance would be good to come back. The problem is I don't know who's gonna do it. Again, that's the problem with half this stuff. If they did it right, I think it would be a prime time for a solid entry. But again, that's the big trouble with stuff like that. Astrobot Cart. Yeah, Morgan was on the right track with that stuff. I think they could do some stuff like that, but again, you just got to be careful because that whole speech thing at the end of the Game Awards where they were thanking them and they couldn't say Mario was very weird. So yeah.
I actually enjoyed that.
I said they when they couldn't say it, that was weird.
Oh yeah.
That was weird.
They were able to put
Yeah, I mean, I get the semantics. I'm just saying it's weird.
We know Mario exists. We know Nintendo exists, and we're all grown up. Why are we acting like other companies don't exist? Like it's
a legal issue.
Oh, this is the one time that I wish Control War wouldn't exist.
Yeah, I mean it's not. Yeah, it's more legal stuff. It's not. Yeah, but going into 2025, before we fall asleep here, because I know we started late. But
we always.
How do you feel about the big three going forward? What's your opinion on, what is your outlook basically for Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox going forward into 2025? If you had to put your finger on the pulse, how it feels for you specifically from your point of view, how would you describe the outlook for 2025 for each company? And I'll go to Weeb first.
All right. I think for PlayStation is looking good. I mean, they have some amazing titles coming up. Death Stranding 2, Ghost of Yotei. Probably some things they haven't announced yet. So yeah, I mean, this is going to be a great year. It's just going to keep on getting better because we know they're cooking. We've seen some of what they're cooking, with Intergalactic. So yeah, I mean, I think PlayStation is just gonna basically that train that sort of maybe took a pit stop somewhere in terms of the first party AAA games. That's gonna start rolling and keep on going. In the meantime, they're just gonna keep on delivering on their other the partner exclusives, investing in China Hero Project, potentially in other countries, Korea now is put on the map with Stellar Blade. So yeah, I mean, I'd say for PlayStation, this is just looking good, and Nintendo is going to do their thing to have the Switch 2 coming up next year. That's going to give them a massive boost, of course. And no, Nintendo, they have a couple of games, in the chamber that they haven't announced yet, and they're just going to sort of shadow drop them. But like, yeah, oh yeah, and this is coming out like next month or something. Plus, Metroid's Prime 4.
Oh snap!
Yeah, so I'm not worried for any of those two. I think obviously the legitimate stepchild is always going to be Xbox, because despite the fact that they have all that potential, with all the studios they acquired, and they have some interesting games in the pipeline, as they call them, Vowed, but theoretically Fable could come out next year. Though I have some doubts. I would not be. I would count on it that they will have some delays going forward. But yeah, they have everything to prove because they. I mean, yeah, no, Indiana Jones what turned out to be surprisingly good, even though I kind of feel like I didn't have a lot of confidence in it, the way that they've yeah, the way they have promoted, but also like that they just dropped this like the end of the year, past the Game Awards submission date, like that they're sort of like, yeah, we're not even gonna try, and that's kind of, yeah, I know it does kind of feel like they don't really still don't really have a tight grasp on what's gonna be a great game, what's quality and what's not, and what's what needs more support and what needs more polish, and what needs a more hands-off approach, and that's kind of has always been their thing with everything. We haven't seen any change in that regard. So that's sort of the only concern. Like any good games coming out for Xbox are going to be due to the fact that a great studio has worked on that game, and was able to deliver on that performance, on that quality, despite being part of Microsoft. Um, and the only thing, yeah, we gotta hope is that they're mature enough. They're maybe have enough support from if they're part of like Bethesda or ZeniMax or Activision, that they get the support from from that publisher instead of Microsoft, that they will be able to yeah, deliver on what they set out to do. South Midnight, I think, is also coming out next year, so that's also something I'm looking forward to. So I think overall it's going to be a great year for gaming. I think it's going to be just crazy as this year, where that backlog is going to feel heavier and heavier. I mean, the backlog's always going to be there, but it feels heavier if there's games in there that you're like, oh yeah, I actually was planning to play them this year, but I just didn't get around to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say in terms of the big three, I'd say yeah, I'm not worried for PlayStation, not worried for Nintendo. I think Xbox, as I say, I'm not worried in the sense that I don't have that much investment in them. Say that I I want them to succeed no matter what. I just hope that what they have in the pipelines, that they're going to deliver.
It
So
actually lands.
Doom coming. Exactly, and particularly of course, in general, you want to have great games, particularly about the studios that I care for. I care for Machine Games, so I'm happy that they delivered a quality title. I hope they're gonna get to work on whatever they want to do, but probably also next Wolfenstein. I hope that next Doom game is going to deliver, even though it are a couple of bastards the way they treated Mick Gordon. And yeah, I mean, also Fable is going to be great because it looks fun. I hope it's going to be every bit as epic as they have teased. So yeah, in general, I hope all these games that, assuming they're not going to be delayed, come out next year and come out in a great state. But yeah, I still say Microsoft has a lot of proving to do, and probably will always will have to because it's sort of because they don't know how to manage these studios, and that's why they bought publishers. Part of at least part of the reason is that it's always a coin toss. Like they don't really have that sort of direction. I mean, it doesn't mean the PlayStation will always succeed. I mean, we had Concord, and they're
We
probably
definitely did.
they're well, technically we didn't because it disappeared. Like
Concord, what's that?
it's
Yeah,
look over
what's that?
here,
Never heard of it.
look over here, look over here. It never existed. Uh, I don't know, but I mean, I have a couple of other service games like Marathon and Sedona game. Keep forgetting it. That Jade Raymond game.
Yeah, the Haven Studios game. Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the exact problem. Like, we can't even think of the
Fair
name.
games.
Fair Games. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, those probably gonna fail hard as well, and I hope that PlayStation's like, yeah, okay, let's leave that service game bullshit behind us and just focus on what we're good at.
Mhm.
And and deliver on those, and they have plenty for us to look forward to. So, I mean, overall, like I don't see. I mean, we have, of course, there's in the industry like a lot of layoffs, which is not positive. They keep complaining about the cost, blah blah blah. The thing is, like, yeah, I mean, I don't think gaming per se, like development, like yes, has of course become more expensive, but they complain about that all the time. Like, it's not that is gonna uh, exponentially increase. It's just that now it's more expensive because of inflation. All the other reason, but at the same extent, these companies will always try to maximize profits and always try to if they can get away with a price increase, they will. That's how they do it.
Oh
Like
yeah.
that's how your grocery store is doing it. Like, they're gonna say, yeah, it's inflation, and then they just and suddenly they have record profits. Okay, how does that happen? That's the same thing for these companies. So that's the only thing you have to be careful about, that they give them a finger and then take the arm, that you don't fall for the bullshit. But other than
Money
that, I
talk,
mean,
bullshit walk, eh?
hmm?
Money talk, bullshit walk. So they can get away with anything.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
people are just gonna keep supporting them.
yeah. But I mean, look, we're set. We all, except for you, have our pros. So we're set for this generation. I think in terms of PlayStation gaming. Gonna get my Switch 2 next year, so we'll be set for Nintendo gaming. And yeah, Xbox does what Xbox does. I mean, if they if they deliver any interesting games, it will turn on my Xbox just as they did for Indiana Jones. And if not, then well, I'll let it gather dust while I play on PlayStation. This is what it is. But like, I'm not complaining. Like, I have enough to play. And just hope that all the games that we're looking forward to will come out. When they're planned to come out in the quality that that we hope they will be in, and that we will have plenty of surprises, and love new games. Also love continuation of favorite franchise. Like I definitely want to see more of Project Century. Also, Project Robot of Ueda from the Last Guardian and Shadow of the Colossus fame. Would love to, yeah, like I said, I would love to see another Dragon Age. Though I guess we'll first going to see another Mass Effect, see more of Witcher 4, Intergalactic. Also, want to see what Cory Barlog is working on. Wolverine. Hope that we're gonna get a release date for that soon. So yeah, I mean there's so much that we know is coming, and so much that we don't know or hope is coming. I'm still sort of pining for a revival of Soul Reaver with the remasters that they have put out, and the recent no clip documentary, which also featured Ben Sar for some reason. Apparently, he's a huge fan, so maybe he'll lobby for it. Hey, let me give us a remake or give us a new entry in the series, and I'll voice act in it. So yeah, I mean, I'm at least I'm not shy for any games or any gaming experiences coming here. I'm expecting great things.
100%. Yeah, we definitely agree on that. It's definitely a pick, choose, and refuse type of environment out here lately. Morgan, 2024 going into 2025. How are you feeling about the big three?
Yeah, 2024 to 2025, it looks like the big three are doing really well. I think when it comes to 2025, I think a lot of the games that started production during COVID, 2019, 2020, I think they're finally, they had a kind of a slowdown during 2020, and I think, they're getting to their final stages and releasing in 2025, which is why I think we have so many freaking games in 2025. Because now all those games that were kind of starting out in 2020 and kind of got slowed down in the initial process have finally finished, right? And it just looks like that way with 2025 so being so packed. And of course, we don't have a lot of release dates for games because everybody's waiting, with bated breath to see if Rockstar is going to release GTA 6 in 2025 like they claimed, right? People are waiting. Publishers specifically are waiting for that definitive date so that they can move their games around and try to avoid GTA 6.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've already had articles coming out saying they were, but I mean, we already knew that's what they were doing. That's why a lot of games have that kind of TBD date or 2025 or late 2025 because they don't want to solidify anything until they can kind of figure out where Rockstar's landing with GTA 6. So if GTA 6 makes it into 2025, man, it's gonna be it's gonna be a crazy year.
Crazy.
But yeah, as far as the big three goes, you got Switch releasing Nintendo releasing a brand new Switch, right? So it's just that's gonna be crazy. And if the power rumors are true about it, we can see a lot more third-party games coming to Switch. So that'll be an interesting change in the dynamic of the big three and as far as competition goes. So it'll be interesting to see how PlayStation and Xbox respond to that. And then like we've said, we have PlayStation with Ghosts and with Death Stranding, and then obviously with their third party partners, Phantom Blade, Lost Soul Aside, and whatever other hero projects they have. And I'm sure they have a lot of other partnerships that they haven't announced yet. We always get some kind of surprise third party or second party game that they've, partnered with to bring an exclusive game to PlayStation. So I'm sure we're going to hear more about that later on. But yeah, Xbox looks like they're having a packed year as well. They're going to have Avowed and Fable supposedly. Like Weeb, I'm also skeptical whether Fable's gonna make it in 2025 yet with everything they have going on. Because they're also going to be having Outer Worlds 2, right? what else? They have they have like what other games do they have coming out? They have Avowed, Outer Worlds 2, and those are specifically Obsidian. And supposedly Fable, they're gonna have Call of Duty, like every year or whatever. They're gonna have Doom. They're gonna have
South of Midnight.
Maybe
Clockwork Revolution, possibly, yeah. They have like a good amount of games that we'll see if they actually do come out. Like I think the only one that really has a definitive date so far is Avowed. I think everything else just is like 2025.
And
so we'll see if
it's just a matter of are they gonna suck the landing or not.
Yeah, I mean, like we've said, like I have faith in those particular studios. It's kind of like, for me, the saying is, they're doing good despite Xbox, not because of it. They were already good. They were already pretty good studios, so they're just continuing what they were doing. It's not really because of anything Xbox is doing. Take that for what you will. If that, that's just my opinion, but that's what I believe. But yeah, hopefully Xbox won't have a repeat of 2024 where nothing comes out for the first 6 months and then it's one game and it's a shorter experience of Hellblade 2 and then they get quiet for another 2-3 months before they decide to put everything in the last 3 months of the year. So hopefully they're aware of to space it out, right? I mean, obviously they're going to be starting with Avowed in February if that's still a thing, and they said it was delayed because they just have so many games, so it should be ready in February. I think it's coming out like Valentine's Day or whatever, and packed between 17 other better games. But there's Avowed, and then I guess probably a month or two later that's when they release South of Midnight, and then maybe a few months later that's when they release Outer Worlds 2, and then maybe if Fable comes in 2025, maybe that's the fall, and then obviously then they'll have Call of Duty. So I can see the kind of the pacing of it, but it's just are the dominoes going to fall into place? That is the real question. And I have high hopes for at least 2 of those games. I think Fable's going to do well, and I think South of Midnight's going to do well.
I hope with all my soul Fable does well.
Yeah, I mean, as far as it's worked on by the Forza team. So I mean, obviously they do well in the technical sense, like, and we've seen it. It looks beautiful, but the question is, what Fable's known for, which is like the writing and the characters, right? Is that going to hold up? And I mean, the trailer looked great so far. It's got that British humor, so as a Fable game should. So it looks good. It looks like Fable. You watch the trailer and you're like, okay, that's Fable. So hopefully, it sticks to that Fable writing and we get a great game out of it. I do have faith in it. I think it's going to do well. I think it could potentially be one of Xbox's biggest games for the generation, right? If they stick the landing for it. But yeah, I mean, 2025 is crazy, and then there's so many other games outside of the big 3 that I want to play personally. Games that I thought were dropping in 2024 that said they were coming in 2024, but then got delayed to 2025, and I'm like y'all messed up my schedule. Yes, you guys messed up my schedule. I had you in fall of 2024. You said fall, and then all of a sudden you're like, everybody's like, okay, it's like it's almost the last day of fall, bro. Where you at? Oh yeah, it's 2020. Sorry, we're coming out the first quarter 2025. Like what?
Are you talking about Assassin's Creed?
No.
Oh.
But Assassin's Creed does fall into that though. I mean, there's several games that fall into it. Assassin's Creed, the Precinct. I mean, the Altars were supposed to be coming out in 2024. Then they got delayed to 2025. So it's just like there's so many games that have gotten delayed and pushed back in 2025 that are now competing with the games that I had already planned to play in 2025. So I'm like, there's conflicting schedules now. Now I'm like, oh my gosh. And a lot of y'all are coming out around the same time. Like, why are y'all doing this to me? Is really the question I have to ask. Like, I only have so much time. Okay. I can't clone myself and then, hand one version. Okay. You play on the Portal, you play on there. I'm going to give you the GeForce, you play that. Okay. And we're all going to play this game. And then, we're all going to meet back together in one mind so I can experience all of these games. I only have so much time. And it's just, I mean, it's a good kind of problem to have, I guess. These are first world issues. It's not the end of the world, but as a gamer, it can get very frustrating when every single game wants to release in February. But I mean, it's because it's the first quarter of the year, so they're all trying to get that into that space to meet their quotas and to get those numbers into their end of the year kind of profit margins. And so it's just like they're all kind of pushing for February, and it's just they're bumping elbows with each other, trying to be like, oh well, we come out this week. Okay, well we come out the same week, but like 3 days later. Okay, well we come out the week after that, and I'm just like, yo. And then that's just the beginning of the year, and not to speak of all the games that are coming out later, right? Splitgate, the next game from Joseph Studio, the next game from the studio that made It Takes Two.
Because you said
Split Fiction. I don't know why Splitgate. My bad. Thank you. Split Fiction. It's coming out in March, so I'm just like, oh my gosh. While I'm excited, I'm like, yes. I don't have to wait long. I'm also like, damn. Okay, so that's gonna come after I get all my February games out the way. Okay, cool. And then of course we still don't have a date for Ghost. We don't have a date for Death Stranding. So it's just like, when are those coming out? Are those the beginning of the year? Are those more towards the end? I don't know. So it's just I think it's the mixture of the amount of games to play with the fact that a lot of these games don't have dates yet. That's kind of giving me a little bit of anxiety, because I'm like, I need to know when these games are coming out so I can plan accordingly, right? Because some of these games I'm going to be taking off for, so that I can, at least for the first day, get a good amount of hours into it, right? So I need to I need to be able to plan, like, okay, I got to take off, in July for this, or I got to take off in September for this, So it's just so many games in 2025, and I kudos to the people that says 2025 is going to be the year that they get their backlogs cleaned out, because I'm like, I see no time in that year to do that. But if that's what you plan to do, more power to you, because I don't, from all these games that are coming out, I don't have the time to do that. So yeah, 2025 is looking absolutely packed. And if you're a gamer, no matter what you play or what genre you play, it looks like there's going to be something for everyone, at least one big game for, to scratch everybody's itch. So it looks like
That's
that
just what
2025 is going to be a great
we
year.
know. There are games that we don't know of.
Yep.
That's the crazy part.
I mean, that's every year. So the fact that there's this much on the table that we do know makes it a little scary for the ones we don't know. Actually, I had that conversation with Morgan the other day. How many games did you play this year that were surprises that you did not plan to play this year? And yeah, that list was pretty extensive. But yeah, lastly, real quick, Omar, same thing for you.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the big three? I mean, if you're just like not interested in one, you can just be like whatever. But just how do you feel like the
No,
big three going into 2025?
no, hopefully we switch to on day one on that one. I missed out on Switch 1, so I should absolutely be day one on Switch 2. As for the victory on PlayStation, stuck. Xbox, stuck. Nintendo, no idea, but it's gonna be stuck. Come on. It's Nintendo.
Nintendo's always stacked, whether we know it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not wrong, man.
Um, I'm for PlayStation. Instead of mentioning the obvious, I'm gonna go out of the norm. I'm gonna mention a game that I'm excited about, but also curious about if it's gonna live up to the hype. Lost Soul aside.
You ain't going out the norm. I said that.
Okay. I am curious about if the game is going to be how do I say this? Live up not per se to the hype, but because of how many delays it have had, will it mechanic live up to the date that it's coming out to, or will we be playing the game and thinking, okay, this game should have came out years ago. So I'm curious where that's gonna be. Besides that, it's a normal one, like Death Stranding 2, Jote. I'm super excited for Jote's first new game. Maybe I'm gonna play it with my brother. Otherwise, me and we day one. And other than that, even Xbox have a shit ton of games that I'm excited about. Clock Tower Revolution, South of Midnight. I'm actually curious if Fable is gonna come out next year or not. Cause I'm I have no idea where they are with the development with that game. Also, will we hear anything from um, Wolverine next year? We will see. But yeah, everyone else mentioned all of them mostly, so I'm gonna cut it short. Oh, very quick. A few games. Atara Noctis, the next version, the next one. Are we gonna get it? Are we supposed to get information this year? We didn't get any. And the other one is the one with I forgot. It's a Metrovania. We got it till part
Of
two,
course.
but it's a typical version of Metrovania, kind of Souls-like, if that makes sense. And I beat the first one. We got second one, but we got nothing from it. So who knows? And maybe a final release date for Ender Lilies too. Thank you very much. Leave it at that.
Cool. Yeah, like I said, I mean, you guys pretty much nailed it. Um, where I put it, obviously, Nintendo Switch 2, most likely launching with a Pokemon. That'll seal the deal right there. We already know how that's going to go. Nintendo's already ready, always ready to go. The fact that we got no Pokemon probably means they're lining it up for the Switch 2 launch, which is probably going to go crazy. So, interested to see what they're going to do hardware wise. Um, PlayStation, honestly, I just need them to put their foot on the gas. They've been doing well, but they also been chilling. Like I need their foot on the gas. I need the show off level PlayStation back this coming year. Um, like I want to see what they're working on. It's time to stop hiding it. Time to stop playing coy. Uh, yeah, I need everything on the table. Like I said, foot on the gas. No breaks. Uh, like I said, we already know what we're looking forward to as far as what's been announced. Um, you know, like you guys have said, Ghost and Wolverine and Death Stranding and so on, along with their partners like the game that's being worked on, uh, Where the Wind Meets, as well as Phantom Blade Zero, both looking really really good. If anything, that'll be the stiffest competition to Lost Soul aside, like you were mentioning, is they just picked a hell of a year to come out where with a lot of other action games. So it's gonna be some tough competition for them potentially. Um, and as far as Xbox, yeah, I mean they have the biggest potential to succeed or fail. Uh, and again, it's 100% just up to them. Like like Morgan said, just don't do that whole nothing for 6 months and release the full clip, in the last 3 months and be like, "Yay, look, we made it!" Like, no, don't do that. They need to really learn to get their release cadences up. Looks like Avowed is gonna start at least in February, so we'll see how that lands. Uh, Obsidian is out here doing a lot of work and a lot of heavy lifting for them. And we'll see what else actually lands in 2025. They said it all looks really, really good on paper for Xbox. But again, the problem is what actually makes it this coming year will be the big determining factor. So they could do really amazing or they could do really mediocre. Um, I hope it's amazing because I will get to play all of it on my PC. So let's hope it's amazing. But yeah, otherwise, I mean, like you said, there's so many games coming out. Like it's looking really bright. It's looking honestly insane for next year. Just hunker down and get ready to enjoy these games in 2025. But with that said, we'll go ahead and get ready to get out of here. We managed to make a full show of those two topics. It is like I said, the end of the year, so thank you everybody who has consistently showed up. Thank you everybody who showed up once or twice. Anyone who's rocked out with us throughout the year. Like Hero said, he's one of the few that's got to play Helldivers with us and some other things, and really get to know each other's gaming tastes and kind of grow with the podcast. So we appreciate everybody who's been here with us, like I said, throughout the year. Thank you everybody who showed up today. If you were able to make it, we said Hero, Stage, Quiet Doom, Sam Walton, Viper, of course, Stage, Seafresh, Warwana. There was like more people in the beginning as well. Keyblade showed up as well. We have Black Frost in the chat as well. Appreciate the homie for stopping by. I know Sunny Slim, he couldn't talk, but he was in there as well. So yeah, quite a few people came through. We were up to like 20 people or so at some point watching. So again, appreciate everybody coming through on the final episode for the year. Everybody have a great new year. Yeah, let's get to these games in 2025. Hopefully we see some healthy wrap-ups in 2025 and not these anemic wrap-ups from some people.
Cute wrap-up from these people. Most of them don't even know what a wrap-up is.
Yeah, so some of them definitely ducking wrap-ups.
No, it's anti-consumer.
Right. Same to you, Quiet Doom.
Indeed.
But yeah,
It's doxing.
We've let the people know where they can find you, sir.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter as the Weep Sheriff at Infinite Rhizome. Same for Blue Sky. And yeah, great show. Despite the fact that it was a bit of a slow news week, we did manage to get a full show done. So kudos to everybody. Have a great new year and keep on gaming.
Absolutely. Morgan, where can the people find you?
Yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter sometimes. I'm not always on there, but when I am, I do make my presence known. But yeah, I'm mostly gonna be gaming, trying to at least, with my scattered brain. But great show. Thank you guys for rocking out with this all 2024. Hopefully we'll see you in 2025. That'll be the first show of next year. Hope you guys show up. Who knows what crazy news will happen that we'll be talking about next show. But yeah, keep up the gaming. 2025 is looking immaculate when it comes to games, so I'm sure we're all have our our faves that we're looking forward to. So
Absolutely.
It's gonna be a good year to talk about some games. So we'll see you guys next year. Otter Nation.
Omar, where can the people find you, sir?
So, first of all, shout out to you. I didn't think there's enough topic to make a show, yet you found a way to do it, and we did one. So, shout out to you for that.
Mm-hmm.
As for me, you can find me at Caravan Job on Twitter and Otter Players and Vitamin G podcast every Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Yeah, hit like button, share the stream out, and shout out to the new subscribers. We're 30, close to 30 away from 100 subs. So yeah, slowly but steady we're grinding.
On the way. And I am your host at The Real Innate on Twitter and Blue Sky. Shout out to Nelson and Kay. They couldn't make it today, but they still very much part of the Otter Nation. With that, again, like we said, man, just enjoy these games. Enjoy the rest of the year. I'm sure some of you got the time off, so hopefully you get in a solid amount of gaming before the return to work. Otherwise, we will see you on the other side in 2025, where we will most
See you
likely be
guys
talking
in
about CES.
2025.
Indeed.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Oh
CES.
man, I wonder what, supposedly Xbox is gonna be talking about their handheld there. But, that's what they've been saying for the past 3 shows. So
Thanks.
I'm sure PlayStation will say something. He usually says something, not necessarily like a big announcement or anything, but they usually say something in terms of hardware. So we'll see.
Exactly. If anything, we'll be talking about some interesting innovations and things like that have shown up at CES. I'm sure there's going to be plenty. And the new graphics cards will most likely have been revealed.
Oh snap! Get that $2,000 out, ladies
Right?
and gentlemen, for them 5,000 series cards. All my PC brethren, yeah, y'all have fun with that.
Yeah, we're gonna see just how much Nvidia has lost their minds. So that'll be yeah.
Just for nobody to get one, just for like 5 people to be able to grab one, and everybody, and the rest of them, just get bought out by scalpers.
Yeah, apparently PC gaming is gonna be only for 6-figure people here in the future. But yeah.
Well, that.
Right? But yeah, with that, like I said, we are out of here, and the Otter Nation, we'll see you in 2025. Peace.